Ssgg.com, CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm Ssgg.com, go visit Ssgg.com. Go visit Ssgg.com. Tom Hanks plasma bag. 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 Just one loose and a hanging shot. Just at it, because in bad. But on the same time, right, it can't be that. Lost gloves, missing shoes.
Conspiracy about Stanley Kubrick, moon landings, and the CIA? Go visit NASAcomic.com.
Ssgg.com, CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm Ssgg.com, go visit NASAcomic.com. Go visit NASAcomic.com. CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm Ssgg.com, go visit NASAcomic.com. Go visit NASAcomic.com. Yeah, go visit NASAcomic.com.
Never a Straight Answer is a 40-page comic about Stanley Kubrick directing the Apollo space missions.
Yeah, go visit Ssgg.com.
is the
energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I whip that beat out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip them thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big, big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whip that ass like Michael O.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
We used to think we knew was constantly explore the view of possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, bigger mistakes, entertaining, calming linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves, good guys. How you doing? God damn it, how you doing?
What doing? What doing? How you doing?
I like that little redneckness there. That was cute.
How you doing?
I'm good.
God
How are you
damn
guys?
it, how you doing?
Good, rested. Went
How
to the
your mama
beach.
doing? How your grandmama doing?
Spent all day at the beach, literally like 6-7 hours. Just relaxed, read, and just chilled. Tanned,
Must
got
be
my color
nice.
on. Yeah, it was so good. So good.
I'm like, do I want to say this out loud? Yep, it's a better shower. I think there isn't a better shower than an after beach shower.
Mm-hmm.
For real. Getting all the
I
salt
just
and
did that
sand
right before the show. Yep. Well, I came, I cooked, and then I took a shower because I have to let my skin like settle for a minute. You know, I can't just like automatically shock it. So like I let like an hour go by and then yeah, showered all that salt. The salt.
Little salt alchemy.
Salty.
How
I
are you
murdered
guys
my
doing
quads
out
today.
there? You murdered? How long were
Yeah.
you at the gym? Abby, middle name
About-
not Gail.
About 2.5 hours.
No.
Nice.
Is that a normal thing? 2.5 hours at the gym?
Yeah.
I don't think for everyone, but for me, because I like to do, like, I want to make sure that whatever my next set, I hit it hard and that I can do as many reps as possible with a higher weight than I did on my last set. So I take like 5 minutes in between sets, so that way I'm fully rested and I can
Yeah.
trigger my
Starting.
quads.
Don't you we discuss this sometimes where you're a personal trainer and people can reach out to you and some people are like, well, I'm scared, I just don't want to necessarily accidentally get your body. And I was
You're,
just like, you're not
you're
going to
never
ever
gonna
get it.
accidentally look like me. You'll never accidentally.
And so I was just kind of making a point, like, how long were you at the gym today? And so you're like 2.5 hours, and it's kind of needed and like validated. But most people are like barely rolling their jellyfish bodies in there for a half hour. I
I
don't
know.
want to accidentally work out so hard that I end up with a rocked ass. So just as long as you can personal train me and understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't happen accidentally and not from working out twice a week.
And for some people, they'll spend like 2.5 hours because they'll spend time on cardio and then the weights. So it depends on how serious, I guess, the person is about their body.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
I think that it's like you can get in shape and you can get a little healthier. And then you could have like a good body, and that's going to take a little time. And if you want a great body, that's going to take a little more time. And if you want a perfect body, so it's like what you're willing to give, that's what you'll get in return. You're not going to accidentally start showing up for yourself at the gym 4 times a week and be like, oh my gosh, I never wanted biceps. It doesn't happen that way.
No.
No, it doesn't.
So what else is going on in the world? You sent me that interesting thing, Abby. I want to pull it up first just because I like the way it looked and I have no idea what's going on it. What was the story title? And I'll pull it up.
Let me
Oh,
find
that
what I
black
sent you.
hole.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many times did
Oh,
they
the
find a
Death
black
Star.
hole? Yeah, but how
Oh,
many times did they
science.
find that thing?
What
Yeah,
is it?
it's on my story. Hold on.
I'm just gonna write black hole and see and then press
Scientists
news.
discover real-life Star Wars Death Star black holes that spin around, shoot planet-killing beams. And
That
that's
was a
on New
story
York Post.
before. Do you know how many times they found a black hole Death Star that was gonna like suck us in and like we weren't like gonna live or something like that? I've heard it at least
Trust the
3 times on
seance,
my
y'all.
timeline.
Trust the science.
Death Star. Oh my god, we're gonna die.
This is such an old lady in me. I hate when I'm trying to open an article and it shows me a video. I hate it. It
Hmm.
makes me so like,
Me
why are
too.
you even on the same page as the news? Like,
Yeah.
go over for other people who need that. I want to actually read stuff sometimes, and it makes me so triggered that I can't just find it. Anyway, so it's just another black
It's in
hole
the
that
New York
scientists are
Post.
talking about.
Instagram, New York
Oh my gosh,
Post.
there's so
Yeah.
many of them. I just went to click it and the
Just look at
article
my
was
story and you'll find the exact
Oh,
one.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Go right to the IG. Let's go right to the Instagram. I know right now Gordy's doing Instagram playing music where he's like, this is where we sing a song while we're going to Instagram. Let's see. At the
That's
top.
true.
Oh, look at Instagram already knew I was gonna pull up you.
Appster.
Look at hi.
Eee.
Okay, at the top. Let's go. Right here. Clicky.
There we go.
Scientist. Oh. And then click. And then see post. Boom.
Boom shakalaka.
Scientists discover real life Star Wars Death Star black hole that spin around, shoot planet killing beams.
Did we already say black holes are gay?
Yeah.
'Cause if
We
we didn't
didn't
say it,
yet,
Do
but oh my gosh, they're so gay.
My
they're
goodness.
it's
literally
like,
it's
is
so
that?
gay.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm
Like,
sitting
look
there
at that
thinking. I was
picture,
thinking about
first of
that.
all. That picture, first of all. Like,
I know.
wow, the art. The art is just beautiful. Like, does that even look
So
real?
real.
Or should I quote Elon Musk when it's like, it looks so fake that it's real? What did he say?
Well, that's
And
what
it
it's
looks
like.
like it must be real.
The another thing that
Yeah, something
triggers
like
me,
that.
that art comes from zeros and ones coming back from a satellite that was shot out before we were born.
Well, that's what they say.
I know. This is why it's like such an absurdity, the amount of things you have to believe to just believe. To be a smart person, you have to regurgitate their rhetoric and all LARP that you're like, how can you not believe this is true? We saw it on TV. Like, it's just so wild.
It is.
Like, people are out there, like, there's a human being in the world, like a grown ass adult human being somewhere in the world that is like lost sleep because of that article.
Yeah.
That's so hard to believe too. It's just like, oh my god, like
Oh
really?
my god, another thing to fucking worry about in the back of our
NASA.
subconscious.
Yeah.
There's a
Oh
few
my god.
things. One Jim Maiden is gonna come hang out with us Friday.
Nice.
And from the
Let's try not to get
Leading
that one
Spiders
taken down.
webs. Yeah, I know. I'm like, let's not get in trouble in beforehand so he can be the first spider that actually makes it to the OG. But I was thinking the topic could be like North Pole or magnets or the poles, maybe. Because we just were randomly talking about something last night. You've heard Thomas and I talk about Howard Hughes, and then we were talking about the North Pole, and then we were talking about the spruce goose, which sent Jim on like a dive. And I just love when some people so many people are smarter than me. Jim is one of these people, and I don't retain things very well from a book. I retain them from audio. So sometimes it makes me so excited when my friends go deeper into a topic than I am capable of because I need them to say it to me so I retain it. And
Yeah.
so like how Abby needs to say it to herself, I need to hear it.
Mhm.
And so I'm excited like if he comes on Friday and we just kind of pull it up, talk about magnets, whatever, wherever it goes. You know how we Secret
Yeah.
Society of Good Guy. So
Yeah.
anyway, that is something
That's
for you
gonna be
guys
fun.
out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit a bell because just because you can't find us doesn't mean we're not there. We are somewhere and we will show up somewhere. You just have to find us because
Yeah.
eventually we're going to piss off the Al Gore rhythm. And
Oh,
you
we
know who
are.
else?
And we do.
Al Gore, so gay.
Gay, super gay.
So
Absolutely.
gay. Like he's
Global
actually a gay
warming.
man.
So gay.
This is how Al Gore talks. Hi y'all. What
Yeah.
you doing? Don't you think that
That
global
twang.
warming's real? Like
You
there's
got that
something
little
about Al
twang to
Gore
it.
that I'm like, your wife's a beard for sure.
Oh man, do y'all hear about Mike Tyson and his heart attack?
I heard his plane got pulled over. Tell me about this.
Well, I just recently, before we got on, Mike, I guess the guy he fought or his brother, I'm not sure because they kind of look alike, just was on TikTok and was like, yeah, I hope Mike Tyson gets better. His heart attack, he had a heart attack. And last I heard that he was doing better and is in the hospital. But I don't know if that's true, but that's the news that has been going around. That he had a heart attack.
So the fight's not gonna happen. I was really loving his shit talking too. It was great.
I guess not. And they're saying that he might have taken like, what's it called? Shots to get bigger, or what's it called? What are
Performance
those?
Steroids.
enhancing.
Yeah, yeah.
And well, there's other. It's like there's steroids and there's human growth hormone, and then there's like Turinabol, and then there's like all these other things. But there's also things that people can take to make their cardio significantly better. Like that's what Lance Armstrong did. That isn't about
Yeah.
you getting shredded in your muscles. It's all about your endurance. And so I wonder that stuff too with these athletes.
Stamina.
Like,
I would
yeah,
think
if you're
so.
Mike Tyson, you don't have to work on your power. Your power is the last thing to leave as a fighter. Your speed's the first thing to go. Your power's the last thing to leave. So Mike Tyson doesn't need to work on his power. He would need to work on his endurance because the other thing that happens with age, all of a sudden, if you could have gone a hard 8 in at 30 something, now maybe you can go a hard 4 at 60 something. So it's just like if he can do something that would enhance his cardio, but also if you were just sitting around your house lazy glazy for however long, he's not used to doing that kind of athletic thing. And you have to be super in shape sometimes to have a very low heart rate. Like
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong had a super low heart rate. So it makes me wonder sometimes. It's like these, like you were in shape, Mike, but you're not in shape now. You can't go back to he's like, I need to do this and do that. And if he was psychotic like an athlete, he was like, I need to go and do as much as I was doing before. And plus all the new technology. He was probably going hard in the paint. Both these guys were gonna be like eat horse tranquilizered up. They were gonna be like Alistair Overeemed.
Mm. It's just crazy. I
fucking
wonder. Well, he is getting old too, though.
He's
So
60.
yeah. Well,
What
he's
a
not
young
that
ass
old.
man
Yeah,
beating up on a 60-year-old man. That is crazy.
that is
Well,
nuts.
Mike
crazy.
Tyson would have
Did
kicked
the
his
fight
ass.
happen yet, or
I
no?
really believe that.
Did that fight happen yet, or no?
No, no, no.
No. Okay. So it might not even happen now. Who knows?
I feel like it was all just a fucking loose anyway, though. Like,
It was
I
all
don't even really
fake. It
believe.
was never
Yeah,
gonna
I think it was
happen.
always fake. It was just to
Yeah.
It was
hype
never
up
gonna
something else.
happen.
It was never gonna
probably the
happen.
whole plane story of them having to have the
Yeah.
plane go down was just so the media would find out about it, so they could pull out the fight, and everybody would still. Mike Tyson could keep his kudos, still be scary Mike Tyson, one of the greats, and then
Yeah.
Jake Paul doesn't look like a bitch. He said he was gonna do it, and now he has this Netflix thing where they just wanted to get a buzz on if people would be interested in live sports or not.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like it was totally just, I don't know. So when I saw the Mike Tyson incident, I was like, I was not surprised. I just felt like it was never going to happen anyway.
Don't you notice how many Lucias they play on people through the sports industry?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's fucking crazy. Lately, it's been like more frequent.
And
What's
it's
that
not
other
real
guy?
either.
The one who was talking about, the Bohemian Grove and yada yada, and he got everyone hyped
Oh,
up. And I'm like,
Ramirez or
what a
whatever.
yeah. I'm like, you son of a
Rodriguez.
bitch.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Like, ew. That rubs me the wrong way.
Hype men, fake hype
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh, you a loose ride. You knew you were never going to show up. This is kind
Yeah.
of what I have to say about, like, if I'm playing 5D chess, I'm like, Layla, of course I'll debate you. Layla ain't never going to debate me. I'll debate Layla anytime, anywhere. I'll sign anything. Because in reality, I have a judge that's working to put a gag order on Layla.
Right?
Wow.
That's what I feel like that shit's
The
happening
same exact
too.
thing. Yes, exactly. The debate was never going to happen. That's
It
why
was
he
never
agreed
going
to
to
it.
happen. That's why
Yeah.
Trump agreed to it. Yep, I'll do it. He already knew that motherfucker was going to get out of it. So
Yeah.
that's what it's like, those kind of things like that debate. No, Trump is never going to stand on stage with Biden. I just don't ever see that happening. I just think whatever Biden's up to, like, it ain't real life.
I don't even think it's Biden. It's his puppeteers. He's just
His
like
mask is so bad. I mean, just
whatever that thing is.
yeah,
Dude, it's like they
he's got
live,
the wrinkles
dude.
right here, and then he's got the wrinkles over here, and you could see where his mask, where his fucking latex is all wrinkled up.
I truly wonder sometimes, are they really human or are they suits and like these beings live in them like then they live? Like, is there some truth to that movie? Yeah.
I think there is. The
Like,
guy
I
said
truly
there was.
wonder that.
Like,
Yeah, but I haven't seen one, Like, I feel the energy of like some, like when you're around them, it's like, oh, you're not fucking human. Like, what the hell are you? Like, you're just a different species of human. Like, the coldness, you could feel it, it's just different. But I don't know if that's
So-
just me being aware or I don't know.
Dr. Jer says so. Like he's into the whole Voyagers thing of it all, and they basically say that those other entities absolutely do exist here.
Hmm.
I think they exist, and I get chills down my spine when they stand behind me. Like, as
I'm-
if I were a deer in the woods and they're an animal stalking me, whatever the energetic feel is, I'm like a deer eating at the grocery store. La, 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 just a deer playing in the sun. And then I get a cold breeze up my spine like a wolf's watching me from the woods. And if I turn around, I always think that person ain't right.
Right?
Don't you? Yeah. Like, have you ever noticed it with women? Like older women, like especially like the older white women, like they're fucking caustic, and you can just feel this freaking like evil. I don't
Yeah. And like it's in a certain type of white woman. It's like some of them are just dead in the eyes. Like there's
That's what.
no
Yeah.
soul in them. Like you stare at them and you're having like these whatever stupid ass motherfucking conversations. You're like, how am I even involved in this conversation? Like it's nothing of substance, And you're just staring at this person in their eyes and there's nothing there. Like, where's the humanity in this person? You search for it. And then you're like, "Oh, what are you staring at?" Oh no, I'm just, interested in what you're saying. Not really, but, to make up for, like, are you human? That gawking. I do that
Sometimes
sometimes.
this is some shit, but I'm going to tell you guys because we keep secrets here in the secret society of good guys.
Yep.
When I walk behind older women, I really try to put my goggles on and like see them. Like I try to be like, I see you, little baddie. Like it'll be like a 67-year-old lady, but I try to see her for who she once was because I feel like if I can get my eyes to see that energy, she'll slowly become that thing again. Like I am observing her magic again. So I try to look so hard and find that. And a lot of the times it's like customers, patients, different things that I try to find it that I notice. I'm like, I think that old bitch just flirted back with me. Like, I think my energy just intentionally put it in my brain. I didn't do anything different. I didn't say anything, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I see you, bad bitch. I see you, crazy bad bitch. I know. You took him on a
I know
ride
what you did
once.
last summer.
Yeah, I know. You
That's-
took him on a ride once, you bad bitch. Like, I put that in my head, that energy about him.
I
Like,
worked in
I
a
see
retirement
you.
home in Northern California and I loved it actually. Like, and the old men, especially, yeah, it was so funny. Like, I could see their inner child like so well. And so then they would act goofy and, like little kids with me. Not, and they were, this wasn't like, this was an assisted living place. This is like independent living. So they're all like cognitive
Doing
and
their thing
everything.
like adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an independent living facility, not an ALF, an assisted living facility, or a
Thank
full
you.
nursing home.
Neither one of those. These are just freaking
That's
people.
nice. Were they
They were
trying
not
to
homebound
do things
people.
for
They were still
themselves?
able to drive.
Yep. All of it.
Yeah, I know. There are levels to care. I know all about the levels to care. I lived in that life once. It was my job to know about the levels of care. But anyways, I do think it is important. There is a lot from that walk of life that I am so grateful for the knowledge I obtained by hanging
Me
out with
too.
the elderly for so long.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Their
One
stories are
day,
great.
this one old lady, I was probably 18, and she grabbed my hands and she was like, "Your generation's going to be the generation when it happens." This lady never fucking said anything. She could have been stroked out or Alzheimer's. She never spoke to no one. She never spoke to me. She grabbed my hands, looked at me dead in the eye, said it clear as day, and then went back to her stupor.
Dude, well, there's this article from this old Life magazine where it talks about Doomsday in September 12th, 2026, or September 13th, I believe. And it like she was like looking for the word birth, And the reason why like Doomsday, like they gave it that time, it's the infertility rates that they discover is like gonna drop drastically or some shit like that. But it's just funny, like a lot of people, even in the past, that around our time and our generation, some crazy shit is gonna happen. As long as I could remember.
Same. And
Mm-hmm.
other generations telling us that. And so
Yeah.
the weird part is, I think every other generation says every generation thinks it's going to be them.
Yeah.
But every generation my whole life told us it was going to be us.
Yeah.
They
And they
didn't
said,
think it
"Thank
was going to
God, I'm
be
dying.
them.
I'm not gonna be here
Yeah,
to
they
see
were
it."
like, you guys are going to get like, and it wasn't just these wars and these things. It's like this energetic thing. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
your generation.
I'm like,
X
see
marks the
what?
spot. And then after.
Like the world's gonna change. Really? What are you talking about? Like, really? Being young.
What about if like the apocalypse for real? Like not like what about I always think what could they play? Let's say Bluebeam is a thing. They have Elon Musk got all his satellites up in time so they can and then with the help of everyone seeing the Aurora Borealis Pokemon game on their phone, like with the mixture of these two things and then us just convincing each other because I'm cooler than Layla that I saw it outside. Even if I didn't, I'm gonna say I did because this is how the world works. And then so then I'm just validating a lie. So then other people are like, it's not real. And then Layla and Abby are like, Chaney saw it. I have a friend. And then it becomes a thing that they're
Uh-huh.
validating. And then the people they tell it to want to be cool. So they rinse Abby and Layla out of it. So all of a sudden, the story they told them about me, they just say, I have a friend.
Oh yeah.
That's how all this stuff. So, if there were going to be a blue beam, what could actually be something that they would show in the sky that would be a uniter for everyone in the world? It couldn't be somebody's messiah because that wouldn't unite everyone in the world. Like, let's say it was a uniting sign, not a scary. We always talk about, is it aliens? Is it this? What about if it was there to unite us? What could it be?
Maybe the whole of
Okay.
Earth seeing daylight all at once.
Well, this is what I think actually, because if it was daylight when it's supposed to be daylight, it wouldn't feel like that. Like that we wouldn't necessarily believe it. But the whole Left Behind series, like the Christian,
Sure.
series about Jesus's return, when Jesus comes back, they all see like Jesus speaks directly to them in their head and tells them whatever they need to hear from Jesus. So it's not like, so it's a personal experience. So what if it's whatever, like let's say
Like
we're
a
all
rapture.
Neuralinked. Let's say we don't even know we're Neuralinked, right? Like it's happening while we
We
sleep or
already
whatever.
have
When we have
nanotech.
surgeries, yeah, we already have nanotech.
And we
So
don't
all
even
they
know it.
have
No
to
matter how
do,
clean or organic you tried to stay, they got you.
and
We're playing in
they
this
know,
philosophy
like
right
your
now.
phone knows what to advertise to you. It knows what you're thinking sometimes before you've even thought it. Like, and so the same
For
idea.
those of you
So
who
it would be
got
like,
that code
oh,
Abby just threw up with her phone, we'll see you later. Anyways, go on.
period. So I think it could be individualized. Like, oh my God, I just saw Jesus. Oh my God, I just saw,
Whatever your thing is.
whatever your thing is. I just saw a dragon.
Like I saw those golden lights that I always talk about, and they're like not beams, they're just like these orbs. And I've seen them more than like 4 times already. Once with a coworker, twice with my sister, and once by myself. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck are those? It's just weird how they moved, how they travel, how they disappear, how quick they are. It's just mind-boggling the things that I've seen with those.
Hmm.
But
I believe
I've
in that
seen them.
stuff too. Yeah, I know people
Yeah,
that
but
have blue things, gold things, red things, orange things. I know people with things, and they're like orby light things. I
yeah.
don't,
Well, I don't know what
so
they
I don't
are.
judge
They could
them.
be anything. Yeah.
I have a friend. Yep, I can say that. I have a friend that she has a thing, and this is so dark to me. This is one of the darker things that I've ever heard, and it's from a relatively normal person that doesn't talk about any of the stuff we talk about. She's just a very heavy dreamer. She has a thing that in like sometimes lucidity and waking life and in like her dreams, there's like something, you know how like if you look at the center of an octopus or on what's that? Dune, the monster in Dune. There's like something that suctions and like she can see it pulsating. And it's like it like sticks on glass on rooms that she's in. And it's in like a lot of the dreams that she has. And sometimes she sees it like she feels like if she gets like, oh, if I get too drunk or drugs, she sees
Hmm.
it and things.
Okay, so that makes me think that it's some sort of attachment and she can do clearings for that. That's where dreaming gets woo-woo, like the energetic attachment of something. There you can have like you can have parasites that aren't even in your physical body, but that could be telling her she has a physical parasite. But I would think that it's more in her etheric body.
Hmm.
It's
You know what's so weird? This probably is like over a year ago. I don't even remember because the last year has been such a blur. That I told you randomly about this, Abby,
yeah, I
and you
remember.
were like, "Yeah, you remember it."
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
I
was
don't remember
like,
what I said, but
"Yeah,
I do
the same
remember it.
advice, the same
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
advice."
swear it
That's
is.
what I
I
was
swear it
about to
is.
say.
She should
Like
energy test
validate.
and ask if she has a, like I did the 2 loops, but there's different ways to do energy testing. You can do it like that, but or you can do the leaning test. But you can just ask like what's yes, what's no.
I
Whoops.
sit still. I sit all the way still on a chair that my feet touch the ground, and I shut my eyes and I say, "What's yes?" and I say, "What's no?" Because sometimes it's different. And when I let my body relax, it'll be like a twitch in my right leg is no, and my I'll get a weird breath for yes, like
Perfect.
and it's like, oh, yeah, but it'll just be different every time. But I think the energy tests work in all these ways that you just have to like be present for a moment and tell the universe what energy you're looking for what. Like you have to verbalize this is going to be this and this is going to be this. And then it really will happen that way. Like start
Yeah.
simple. I think yes and no is always that's why don't we like when people talk everything's a Ouija board, everything's a Ouija board. An energy test is just you. When you take a Ouija board, it is an energy test, but you don't know who built it. You don't know what sigils they put on it. You don't know what materials you're using and what those are drawing. So now that same energy test that always starts simple. If you look at all Ouija boards, they have the simple yes or no. This is what's so interesting because we were talking about the casino and how many chance games and how it always breaks down first to the black or white or the black or red. Like you always get the yes no answer first. And then the letters or the symbols in the design, all that is placement on something. That's why I believe
Yeah.
like the board game Ouija that you buy at down the toy aisle is probably one of the most demonic possessed, knowing by them they've done ritual on it so that it opens up houses, people, kids rituals to lower demonic energies and attachments and walk-ins. You
Yeah.
said something earlier about how when there is a feeling that they're not human, they're cold. Sometimes I believe in that same way where your grandmother would tell you, or a Christian would tell you, or probably anyone of any faith, that whatever faith they were, if they were a good Muslim, they'd be like, don't go messing around with that other stuff. There's stuff that's other stuff to people. And so when you don't know what you're playing with and a bunch of kids think Ouija's a game and they start inviting these things, I think it's little pieces of you that slowly leave. And then I think there's really powerful, demons are an easy word to say. I think there's powerful energies, demonic, darker energies that they can walk in and take over you altogether. And
Yeah.
a dumb, low energy of this would let everybody know so that you looked like the exorcist. So everyone would be aware of this thing. But a really smart energy wouldn't let anyone know. It would do a
Yeah.
really good job of mocking you. But the people that knew you the best would be like, you just seem different. You've changed. And every once in a while, they would see you almost grabbing for the light, control of this being, every once in
Yeah.
a while. But the more you drink, maybe the energy drums on, or maybe you do something less that because our moral standards for each person are all different. And only
Yeah.
you know your moral standards. Like you have this center that tells you this feels good or this isn't good.
Yeah.
It's like not even to get off or not even because it's tasty or like this isn't good for me. This isn't
You
good
can
for the whole.
Yeah, you can also create your own demon in that fear aspect of knowing what you're doing. Like if you're pulling out a Ouija board and you just know that you're fucking with demons, you and your fear and your thought process, because you are a vessel, what better object to use than a human being to like create a spell, you know? You are the ultimate vessel. So it's like when you go in with that fear or not protecting yourself, oh, this is not real, no demon's going to come out. Going in with that mindset, you won't create your demon, because a lot of times people create their own demons because of the fear of them. They start conjuring them because the thought is always there of them.
So
So that's
this is
another way.
really interesting because you brought up the little orbs, right? And
Hmm.
we board and actually like Parker Brothers versus like your own, energy testing. But like when digital cameras were brand new, my brother got this digital camera and he started taking pictures all of our house. And every single picture, there's multiple orbs, okay? And then he even drove by it after he moved out and took a picture of it, and there was orbs outside in the photograph. What was weird though is that in the hallway he zoomed in on one of them, and this orb had red eyes and a really long nose. It was a female face. It was scary as fuck. It tripped me out. And another one had a full-on wolf inside of it. Like, so when he zoomed in, it was an actual wolf inside. You could see the wolf's face and everything inside the orb. So I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But then I started thinking, we used to play Ouija board. My mom, like, we went to a yard sale and she found one of those Parker Brother Ouija boards, and we'd sit and play the shit out of it and had some really crazy stuff happening with it. Nobody ever, there's no directions where it says like you're supposed to swipe on the goodbye or whatever when you're done. Like, there's no directions that tell you that. Like, I didn't know that. We just freaking played it and had some really freaking horrible experiences. And so, yeah, I'm going to say that especially the ones that you buy at the store are freaking demonic as hell. But then my friend's mom, she told us that the only way you should ever do it is to create your own. She called it planchette, but the planchette is supposedly the little thing that you put your hands on, but you did it
Mm-hmm.
with a shot glass and paper, like you made a circle with the letters. So it's more along the lines of what you would do with a what's it called, with a pendulum, if you had like a little scrying board with a pendulum.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of weird because she always said that the store-bought ones were evil.
Well,
And she was onto something.
I feel like it was probably us off air, or I was maybe chatting with my Maria. But if it wasn't us, I was chatting with my Maria. So I just want to give credit where it's due, because it was something in the last week of my life. And we were just talking randomly about like how some certain, like we're in love with each other and we have sex and we look in the eyes, and sometimes that creates a baby. And sometimes we aren't in love at all and we just meet each other and it's a one night stand and we have sex and that creates a baby. And sometimes, all the other times, that an energy isn't created that's in a physical flesh. Do we create energies and birth them into the world that are either good or bad by the experience that we're having with other people? And so if it's very lustful and dark and all these things, we're putting out this energy. But if it's very loving and doty and whatever, it puts out this energy. And if it's very like just necessity and like taking care of business, sometimes it puts out like, what if you act every single time that you actually do have sex, you do create a baby, essentially, like an energy into the world, that sometimes the blessing and the gift and the magic is so high that energy gets flesh.
Mm.
And that's like the highest high for that to get flesh. But so every other time, every hoodwink and time that you just
You're
had
still
any sex,
creating.
you still created something that is of equivalent value to all of us that we don't know. It might be dark, it might be whatever, it could just be something on me, it could be something the world has to carry. I don't know. This is just an idea. But just that
This
what
was
if
you and me talking the other day.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what if
Because
it was
we kind
just
of
the
went on
same
to the
amount?
whole idea of the suicide demon, like the whole idea that this entity exists that's really not what you're feeling. It's just it attaches to you. So the same idea with because sex is the same idea. It is a creative act. So it makes sense, when you're having sex, like you are actually feeding the sex entity, we should say, okay? And it doesn't matter because you're going to spend the energy either way. So it's not like you're being loosed.
It's hungry. You just have
It's
to
hungry.
feed
You're just
it.
feeding it. Yeah. And then,
And
but if just like you were saying, like depending on so many other factors, what are you creating?
and then it made me think of another thing. Let's say you're alone now, all by yourself, and you're just jerking off to porn, or you're jerking off intentionally, or you're just jerking. Are you creating half yoked energy? Are you creating putting, or is it full? I mean, it's just a, could it have the same amount of power that we're actually doing this act and we're all creating something that if we had the responsibility and idea that it was going to be something in flesh that we'd have to take care of and feed and do pay taxes on or some shit, we might give it more responsibility. But if we knew in the etherical somewhere that every time we combine, we're adding a new element into the thing, or every time we combine with ourselves without somebody else, we do the same. Like, that's an interesting thought, like, than just, the same, like the as
The sex magic
above.
of
So
it all.
yeah, the sex magic of it all, where even, I saw somebody say homunculus in the chat. Like, that's just what men do.
Yeah.
Like, when men try to create something and they try to mother something, that's a homunculus. When women create something in their womb, it's not a homunculus. It's totally separate things. It needs to be divided.
It
I
But
does.
then what about
know.
penguins then?
What about penguins?
Penguins are the ones who, keep the eggs warm while the mothers go do the thing. They're out swimming in the
Well,
waters
that's
while the
super
dads.
helpful.
Yeah, but that's
It's the
like the only
same.
creature I believe, right? Or is there
I
others?
think there's tons of really doty, awesome male, like seahorses hold it
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah,
there. I feel
seahorses, they
like
carry the
male
Yeah,
lions
babies.
are the best stay-at-home dads. Like
yeah.
male lions, if you watch what they have to go through with them cubs by the lady lions it's just like I almost feel bad that he's home alone.
Uh-huh.
Like it might be easier if he goes and hunts and the three of them take care of those animal savages hanging on his tail, bleeding, hanging on his ears. He's exhausted.
Hmm.
So I don't know. There is some really it's crazy. Maybe even that's a spell of being like king of the jungle, king of the jungle, king of the jungle when really gosh, he was like the
It's
best
so
dad.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he was really the best dad. Poor lion.
I wonder if it has to do with like even the animal's experience and what they go through and the type of animal that they are for them to be able to be the dads, you know? The type of creatures they are, like hyenas. I don't think they would be the best of dads because they're just like fucking,
Laughing
you
all the
know,
time at you.
yeah, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. But yeah, I guess it's like humans. It depends on their surroundings. Your surroundings matter. The type of family you have could be a type of like animal power that you're not aware of. Some are gentle, some are more chaotic, some are like fucking wolves, some are like bears. It's just weird. Families are different in that sense.
Yeah, that is a good even way to look at it is how you might see school of fish do something and it's not less perfect than the way a pack of wolves do something and that's not less
Hmm.
perfect than the way a mama bear does something and that's not less perfect than a way if like really we stop judging each other in just like here's the way that we do this is the way a family works, this is the way, like even look how we talk about like
Yeah.
our cultures. This is the way, like maybe even if we just did that, like, oh, well, I'm from a family of wolves, and you were like, oh, I'm from a family of mockingbirds. Why would we
Hmm.
have any idea how each other, like, cooler thing would be that we get to hang out in rooms like this and not judge where
Yeah.
we all came from to see the beauty of where we could all go.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
It is kind of
Because
a
each
different
family has
philosophy.
their own thing. Like, well, your family's like this, my family's like that. And no two families are fucking like. It's so strange. It's like, yeah, we live in the same society and do a lot of the same things, but when it comes to like the home life and the people who really, really know you, it's like a whole other jungle, a whole other fucking realm.
And you know how the like black sheep of the family. You're the black sheep of
Hmm.
the family. What if you're not, but accidentally your mom you're from a family of crows, but your mom accidentally had a lion. They don't know
Mm,
how to raise a lion. It doesn't mean the crows are bad. It doesn't mean the lion's bad, but one day the lion goes and finds other lions and she's like, "Oh, I'm so excited." Or even other big cats to be around instead of all
dude,
the birds. It's like this is why
yeah,
we're like
the
searching for these
horoscope.
energies.
The lion, the fish, the ram, the this, the that. Maybe that has a lot to do with like who the person is in the family and like what kind of zoo. I
Yeah.
guess
Because
each family is a zoo.
even the Cherokee people, like they would have like you were from a certain like animal, like you were from the same tribe, right? But each family had their own little classification of an animal, and like you couldn't marry somebody from your own animal class, So they were pretty smart about it, but like I don't even know how many. There was like 8 or 9 or 12 or something like that, but they,
It's
but
very Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Mm,
like
Like,
you,
oh, she's from the family of birds. She's from the house of
she's an
dragons.
owl. She
That's the
can't have.
lion.
Yeah, they don't. They don't breed with other owls. So
Like, oh, they're from the north. Stags are only allowed to breed with these other northern creatures. It would be really weird if you bred with somebody from the south.
dude, imagine we lived in a society where everyone was split up by their birth sides. And like these are the fish people, and these are the lions, and these are and this is the world of this, and like a bunch of fucking Pisces in one area of the world, and a bunch of fucking Leos, and
And they
imagine
like
like how,
splintered them. Like
yeah,
how different the whole entire, like
ooh,
all these climates exist because some people are genuinely turned on by the snow and others cannot even fathom not sweating every day. The same way a house cat needs to lay on a heating pad in summertime because house cats and cats in general love the Sahara. They love the
Hmm.
Sahara. They just are like, oh, I love the heat. Whereas some people are like, I will melt out here. Like, what are
Yeah.
you thinking? Like, they're penguin. They're like, I just want to dive in the coldest water.
Yeah, like all the water signs live by the water, and all the earth signs live like somewhere in the mountains or something, and all the fire signs somewhere like, I don't know, in the desert. I don't know. That would be so fucking cool
Have
if you
you
think
seen
about it.
that movie? I think it's called Elements or
Mm,
Elemental or something. It's a
I don't think I
cartoon.
have.
Okay, well, Soul you liked. I think you'll like Elemental or Elements or whatever too. I'll pull it up right now. It's so corny and
It
cheesy,
reminds me of
but
the Avatar too, like the different villages of like the fire people, the water nation, the earth.
yeah. Like
Uh,
how we're like under this impression like, "Oh, this is the only way." And then they walk out and they're like, "Oh, here's these people that are kind of like us, but look
mm-hmm,
at how their fins are bigger because of this reason." And they talk to the whales like we talk to the trees and
mm,
it didn't
just
mean either of them were
imagine.
bad. And then the cool part was, and this is kind of how I think a little bit, the whale people had to teach the tree people that they could do it too. And then when need be, the tree people had to tell the whale people when they go all the way down that you can do it too. It's like it's that we all can do it, but this is the same. It's always back to the Tony Hawk 900. We don't know we can do it till we observe somebody else doing it sometimes. And so there might have been all of us standing at the shore forever and ever and ever and ever and never getting in. But then your people came over and just dove in, and immediately we didn't have fear.
Or they just called you witches and they did have fear.
They were like, witches ban her. She
Witches float.
floats.
Which?
She floats, then ban her. Yeah, this is a silly movie, but I think it like and they're probably doing a spell on us and it's already Disney and Pixar, so we already know. You can pick it apart for all the signs that you want to.
Elemental.
But this fire girl falls in love with this
Oh, I've
water
seen
boy.
clips. Yeah, I've seen clips of that.
And so, like, and all these people are ground people, and then there's air people. And so it like breaks down elements in a way that sometimes it's even kind of clever. Like when they hold hands, his water boils.
Yeah, and create steam then.
Yeah, it's like pretty cute that way. But then also the racism of things where they're like, those fires aren't allowed in our area because they'll destroy things. And then,
Mm,
like that kind of so
yeah,
there is that racist kind of bullshit, but there is a lot of stuff just about, I think, lives and families. And I even think for Layla, it would be really good for you to see for some reason, even thinking of it right now. You have so much in common with this little fire bitch. You have
probably.
so much in common with this little fire bitch. Her dad's old school fire. Her dad's old school fire. Like, don't even bring that water boy in my restaurant. Like, there
Hmm.
isn't even a reason for him to be there. Like,
Yeah,
and her mom's trying. She's a little newer school where she's like, "Oh, honey, that's your old ways of thinking. Times have changed," and so it's like you can see this whole battle of like old
old
culture
and
versus a
new.
new world. Yeah. And they
Hmm.
do it in this way of elements too. So it's not all about race. You see that part of it. He has no culture. He's a water boy. He only knows about 30 years of his history. And her
Yeah,
culture is so deep. Her fire culture isn't fluid. It doesn't change like that. It's so old. It's the first thing that changed man, like so I don't know. It's interesting. But I
I'm gonna
look at
take a
everything.
look.
It might have said
Yeah.
none of this stuff. This is just how I watch movies.
No,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
watch
watch
it and
it.
you're gonna be
I
like, that
saw
little
clips
fire
of it.
bitch
I was like, I
is
want to
me.
see this. Yeah,
If I were gonna pick somebody
and
in
I'll
my
text
real
you,
life that
dude. You're
represents that
fucking right.
fire bitch, it's definitely you. I feel like her story almost is dead on to yours.
Hmm.
You're gonna be like, you're gonna be like, Dad, that fire dad
That's
is you.
that's you, and that's me. So watch the movie and understand.
Yeah, it'll be cute. Dad, you're gonna watch a cartoon with me. We're watching cartoons. This is healing for us in the real life, and it will be healing for us after. Like,
Uh,
Dad, when was the last time you watched cartoons with me?
yeah. Well, we've healed a lot, thank God. From
Yeah,
what we were to what we used to be. Oh my God, he's like a changed person. I'm like, okay, you're actually having conversations now, like being real. which before he wouldn't even let us speak, but now he just like sits and listens and have actual conversations. So it's been good, like really
See,
good, thank
it's
God.
like the courage of that. This is why we all must be different animals too. There's going to be a whole bunch of like almost like you were a different element, maybe born into your family in ways, but it's not necessarily for the bad. Like, let's say your family always lived on the cliffs and they were always just, they could rock climb and they could always do this thing, but you were a mountain lion. So it always seemed like you were on the cliff right next to them. You could do everything they could do.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that they didn't teach you how to run those cliffs perfectly, but if not for you, they wouldn't have this whole new skill set. So in a way, your dad had to sit back a little and be like, she's still a mountain climber, but
Uh-huh.
she's not a goat, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. It's like your cat now, you might go on and you might be with a panther and a lion and whatever, but you'll be the first cat to ever bring to them the hills.
Yeah.
And that will only be because the goats taught you once.
Yeah.
And so
And
that's
my
kind of
sister
how.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, seriously, the two of you for an old school family to get, like, it
Whoa.
would be essentially if your dad had me as his other daughter.
Dude, for real. Like it is like the most unexpected of outcomes to ever happen with our family. Like the most like okay, you lose a brother. One turns out to be a lesbian, one's 36 and doesn't want to get married. The other one's married and has a kid. So it's like all the elements of reality for many families.
And you know how they say like an energy never dies, like it's just
uh,
goes somewhere. It's like your sister, her masculine needed it, but also you were the first, your masculine needed to lay out to protect your siblings so they could
mhm.
have their freedom. You were
Yeah.
like if she came first, she wouldn't be able to be the woman she
Nope.
is.
Not at all.
She would have never been able to like to fight the lesbian thing
She would have
too
been
on
me.
top of the old
Uh-huh.
school thing. It would have been too much. You had to break the old school thing just so she could have a walk.
Yeah. And they know it, which I'm grateful. They're like, because of you, you know, my life is the way it is, and like I have my freedom to like just be, and you took a lot of shit for us. And I'm like, yeah, because I know what it is, and I didn't want you guys to experience that. I was never like a mom to them. I was an actual sibling. And some siblings, like the older one, is usually the mom, like the second mom, and tells their parents everything. No, I wasn't that. Like I was always friendly with my siblings, and they appreciate that, you know?
Her brother isn't a lesbian, Hector.
No,
There ain't none of that. We don't
no,
change the pronouns around here. She has more than
no.
one sibling.
Yeah, a twin brother and sister, and a brother that passed, and myself.
Just so you knows.
And just so you know,
And her
just so you know.
sister is a lesbian.
Yes, full blown. Never been with a man.
She's
Never
a
wants
gold
to be
star
with
Gold
him.
lesbian.
star. Wow.
Yeah, like never lost her virginity to a man. Never been with one. I think she kissed one once in her life, but never went further than that.
Whoa, that's even more gold star than Alex.
uh,
Alex is the gold star of gold star. She only two-finger touchied, but I think she did kiss on the mouth, and she
yeah,
two-finger touchied until this might be too much of her story, but maybe this is my spell to finally get Alex to come play.
yeah, Alex.
She you guys will love Alex, and she is like a cool lesbian,
Yeah,
and
she got
she's old
jokes.
school in a lot of ways. She's Cuban, she's badass, she got jokes for days. But she two-finger touchied in a car one time, a dude's penis, and then he did his business really fast, really, really fast. And she was like, ew, get out of my car. I'll tell you
Yeah.
something straight that happened to me today. Speaking of that, get out of my car, where I had a moment like, are you kidding me right now, universe? Where I just felt insulted. I had to clutch my pearls. I was in the bathroom at my job, and you know, if it's slow or anything, I'm just have to keep my scorpion busy. Like I just have to keep doing shit. So I'm like cleaning the bathroom, wiping the mirror down, and whatever. And those animated automatronic soap dispensers, I
The
hate
worst.
them. I
Yeah.
hate anything
know.
animatronic really because I'll just turn off the sink. You can't possibly be saving money with that sink turning on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. I always need 2 cycles. One cycle's never enough, and if you let me just do it myself, I'd use less than the second cycle. I hate having to press that button down hard. I don't have
Yeah.
those sinks in my work, but that automated soap dispenser I have, and I'm standing there and I'm wiping the mirror all leaned up where I'm feeling so femme, like I can feel my booty and all in the soap dispenser. Just fucking white schmutz down my pant leg. I heard the soap dispenser say to me, "You want me to get you a towel?" I was like,
The
"Fuck
jizz
you,
effect.
soap dispenser." I
Oh
was
my
so I had to
God.
walk out to the other lesbian that I work with and be like, "Look what just happened to me on the soap dispenser."
I was jizzed on.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. It was so disrespectful. Like, I'm at work. I would like to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against the soap dispenser.
Ours is like right next to where you turn the cold water on, and I just use cold water. So I turn it on and then wash my hands, right? And I go to shut it off, and then it freaking gets me every time. So then I turn the water back on and wash my hands again. So
It's
annoying.
so annoying. It's so gross. And just anyone out there in the world with a public fucking restaurant or a public restroom. If you put that goddamn trash can by the door so I can grab the handle and then throw my trash away, your bathroom will be cleaner. But if I have to grab the
Agreed.
handle and your trash can's too far away, I'm dropping it on the floor. I'm the
Well-
person that sometimes when you walk in a bathroom and you see tissues on the floor, it's because their trash can's too far away from the door handle and I
They
don't
need
want
to
to
be
touch
by the
anyone.
door. They do. Agreed.
So
For
that's me.
for me, I take the napkin out and I'll because where I work, I just throw it out the trash can by my bar.
If
Like,
I'm
I'll take it
working
out with me.
somewhere, I'll
Mhm.
take it with me and throw it away. But if
Yeah.
I'm going to your establishment and
Yeah.
frequenting it and you walk in there as an employee or a fellow patron and you're like, who just throws paper towel on the floor wet like that? Me. That means their trash can was too far away from the door handle. I'll try to make it to the trash can, but what?
I was
Then
like,
I'm
I'll
gonna-
throw it. I try to
Yeah.
throw it, but
But
yeah.
sometimes they have that new metal trash can that goes in the wall.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
so
it's never gonna
like,
happen.
Do you
what
know
am
what
I,
I miss
Michael
doing?
Jordan?
I miss
Yeah.
taking tissue and like wetting them and throwing them on a ceiling as a kid. Do you guys remember doing that?
No way. My mom would have
I
gave
didn't
me
do
a
At
it, but I
school?
remember.
southern. My mom would have gave me a good
That was a
southern
school thing.
spanking.
We all did it.
I didn't even throw
Like,
a pencil into the roof.
no,
I
we
was a
did it.
goody
My
goody.
friends would do spitballs with a pen, and then
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that
tell you
too.
guys
Yeah.
a secret. Scorpions, we're badasses when we don't wanna. We might be the most badass if we don't wanna. But in the onset of just walking into any situation, we are little rule abide buyers. We're the ones
I
that
am
will
too.
like nudge you and be like, the line's over there. Like we're those cunts. We don't mean to be. We just want everything to be smooth. We want everything to be. We just have this like little. It's a like control freak in our scorpion. Like just whip your tail around. You could do it better. It's like something that I'm like, oh, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to do that. Like on the outset, that's originally who I am when I walk into any situation. If you can't give me a valid reason that makes sense to me why we have to keep abiding by those rules, I'm going to drive you crazy. But on the onset, I was a good kid. I didn't toilet paper things. I didn't
was
throw
too.
stuff into the roof. Like I didn't want anyone to ever have to clean up behind me. Like I feel like my mom or somebody I loved did every single job that would be considered a lowlier job in society that I never wanted them to ever have to do the thing.
Same, but also because I grew up in a small town, so like I would think I'd get away with something, and I'd get home and my dad would be like, "So and so called me," and I'm like, "Who's that?" And it's like some old lady I had no idea, but they recognized me and they called my dad, and then I was getting my ass whooped. So I was a good kid.
I'm like such a nerd. Like if we're walking into a grocery store, I'll be like, the other way is the entrance. And you're
Yeah, I like to go in the indoor too. I'm the same way.
like if I like I'm just a little goody and like I have friends like I have Gemini friends for some reason I'm gonna like my Gemini friend's my friend that will tell me like Chaney, You're lucky enough to be dressed as a white woman for the rest of your life. Cops don't give a fuck what you do.
I still slow down when I see a cop. Shit.
Yeah, like I'm such a goody goody about everything, and like my friend who's a Gemini is like, I don't give a fuck about any rule ever, 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 ever. If it's their rule they create, you better fucking abide by it. But as far as society goes, don't tell a Gemini what to do. And I kind of need that sometimes, where it's like, fuck the police, Chaney, and I'm like, you're right.
The contrarian in me, though, I usually go in the indoor and out the outdoor, but it bothers me because I feel like because it's bad luck to go. Like, I dated this guy in the Navy, and he would like always make me go to a certain door to leave the building, and I was like, "Why are you doing that?" He said, "Because we came in that door. It's bad luck to go out of a door that you didn't walk in." And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
I always
So
thought the
now, so then
opposite.
with it, you're supposed to go in and out the same door. And so I'm like, is there something to that, Walmart?
Huh. Interesting. Well, yeah, but then like the in and out with all those people, it would be like a fucking mess if you're going
Oh, I
in and
know.
out to
I
the.
know, but it makes me want to just walk around and like go out the other
Be
way
like
just
That would be like
because
fucking
fucking hell.
yeah, it looked like the middle of India where you see all those carts and people and goats and
funneling
cows
through.
and all.
Yeah.
You're like,
Uh-huh.
holy shit.
Line to get
That's
in
what
and out.
Walmart would look like.
Oh my
Have you ever been
god,
to
it's
Walmart in
halfway
Southern
there.
Somebody be
California? It looks like
walking a
that anyway.
horse.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Halfway there.
Yeah.
You said something else in this whole thing that made me think of something, and then I lit my joint and something made me laugh and I totally forgot. Okay, here's what's funny about me though. Once my scorpion decides that my rule is better, there's no going back. So this is the juxtaposition of me. I never wore a mask. Do you know how? And I never not went to the store. I never not did the things I needed to do. I can name on the times that people were brassy enough that actually kicked me out of the store. And like on one hand, that they were actually balls enough to take it all the way. And I'm like, well, here we go. But this being said, never wore a mask, still always walked in the entrance and out the exit. Like they'd be so mad at me for not abiding by this rule, but I would still abide by their little. Here's the other thing for some reason. If there was an arrow on the floor, I purposefully had to walk the opposite direction.
Yep.
I did
And
it a
if
lot.
there was a dot on the floor, I was the person that if you were in line and scared of anything that was wackadoo, vacky, or whatever, I was the person right behind you that if I would have had a strap on, it would have been in your ass. Like you
For
would have
real.
hated how close I stood to you. Because if you had a mask on, I was like, you could feel me on your neck, like,
Yeah. I mean, you have a mask on. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You got a mask
Weird.
on. You're
RG's is
you're
saying, or
protected.
Riggs is saying that people in Oklahoma are still wearing masks in where he moved. And I'm like, I never see them.
What?
We stopped wearing them long before the rest of the country. I swear.
I don't know.
I saw last summer a few people would come in, and I'm just like, what the fuck? This lady, this one time she came on with what looked like to me a fucking a Moscow Mule cup. And it like, you know, like what a horse wears sometimes to cover their mouth. Dude, it was the most ridiculous fucking thing ever. And I just looked at her. I was like, man, we don't have a mask policy here. It's fine. You could take that thing off. She's like, no, I'm protecting myself. I'm like, everyone stared at her. It was the most ridiculous contraption I've ever seen in my life. Like a cup, like hanging out like this in front of her.
Idiot.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. That was the
Idiot.
last time I seen a mask in person.
It was one of my first triggering things and why I left podcasting for a while is because I knew I was walking the walk every day and coming to sit in the microphone. Y'all can go back and find me anywhere you can find me. And I was sitting with dildos that were playing ball. They were saying the things I was saying on a microphone, but then they were out in the real world with a mask on.
Yeah.
Some of those
Some even
same
podcast with the mask on.
that's when like some of those same fools, they were like, well, we should play along for a little while because I just am like, go find any of my recordings and tell me where I stood in a different place. I will tell you a lot of those black pills go find them, and they were the cowards hiding in the basement that never left in New York City. But now they're all black-pilled, still telling you the doom when I was the one without the mask telling you the end of times aren't here. They were in the billboard, ding, 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 ding. They were all like, look at you guys, here it is. And I was like, no, the high water mark's been met because I'm never putting one on. And then one day Abby never put one on again, and Layla never put one on too. And that's why we became fast friends. I was like, I don't give a fuck if we never agree on anything. This girl's a real one too. I knew that she, like, it was one of the things we were super passionate about. And we were one of the only two people we know we never played. We never fucking played. And that is like a big thing that when I look in the world and I hear people, I'm like, oh, look at these little singers. Look at these little singers that have still never been bringers.
Yeah.
I've
I was
always
a
been a
bully.
bringer. I've
I was
always
a
been a bringer.
fucking bully when it came to masks and my like voice on the internet. Like I was a fucking insane person and like going off on rants because of these sick lunatics and their fucking masks. I had accounts taken
I
off
know
because of them too.
dildos on InfoWars. Like, you know how they have a whole channel? I know dildos on InfoWars that totally played, pretty much stole my story, and they ran with it was like theirs because they lost their jobs for different reasons. They showed up in a mask every single day, but they acted like they lost their job for standing firm about not wearing a mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see that motherfucker still, and it's like, oh, you get to pretend you're a big, strong alpha male, but really you just stole some tiny little lesbian story from Florida.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm like, you can be, let's say, you can be the alphaest of all the mockingbirds. The pussiest of all the cheetah don't even notice you. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes where I feel like this animal thing needs to be. There's a lot of fucking dudes walking around thinking they wolves. And I'm like, I see you, chipmunk. Like, I see you. Even
Chipmunk.
your body might look like that of a bear, but your actions are that of a hamster, and you can never fool me.
Yeah.
And that's the most dangerous thing in the world to me, is somebody with the strength of a bear and the actual like gravitas and balls of a hamster. Those are the most dangerous men in the world. And those are a lot of the men podcasting to you and with big audiences.
Yeah.
They're the
One of
reason
them-
we're here.
One of them we already know. We've talked about many times. Visual Mush.
I know who you meant.
I
Yeah.
didn't. I thought like I went through a Rolodex in my head just now, and I was like,
Yeah.
We've discussed his balls a lot, so
Yeah.
yeah, but
Visual Mush.
yeah,
Fucking gay.
I just am,
Damn.
I even think it's funny too because I watch X now, and I feel like X is in this cycle of what we all did 4 years ago. Like they're
Yeah.
in just the cycle now of like
The Telegram days.
yeah, totally. And it's like, or even people that Clubhouse, or everybody had their little
Clubhouse,
network
yeah.
of thing, or what was the other one? Discord. Everybody had their little groups, and they were like tight groups. And the people that really did that shit and made friends with people online through those means because they were like being extradited in their family or felt really lonely, those people went through this thing and they made fast friends. Some of them lifetime friends. Some of them were doxxed because of it. Some of them lost their sites, their livelihoods. Like everybody went through things together. And then 4 years happened. People healed. They grew. They watched this thing. They figured out who the real ones were. It separated. Life moves on. I feel like X is in that place right now. And they are still have a little bit of their anonymity where I can be like, I'm 120 years old and just using the picture of myself from the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
or I have a really sexy voice, but I really am an 800-pound gorilla with 3 cheese plate on my lap right now. Like
I
Yeah.
pretend to
I think
sing, but I don't really sing. I just
yeah. I'm gonna auto-tune my voice and everybody's gonna think I'm an amazing singer. But I
Yeah.
just think it's really funny that they haven't hit the spot that a whole bunch of other people have been woke and in the game doing blah 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 all the way back to this silly mask right here. That they've already been through all the things of it. They have their internet friends in real life. They have their friends in real life. They already made it to the things with their family. And I'm watching these people now, like internet, like video kills the radio star every single time. Every single time.
it does.
And And so there's like, it's so easy to me. Like it would be pretty easy for them to CGI us and
Yeah.
put up fake Layla and Abby and Chaney, but it'd take a little bit of work for them to do it every week. But
Yeah.
it would be very easy for them to take all three of our voices and run an X chat room
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
have anytime this person speaks through the mic, it's comes out as Chaney, this
Yeah.
hand gesture.
Did y'all see Trump on TikTok?
Tell me.
He has
Did he just start
25
an
million
account?
views. Yeah, 25 million views within 1 hour.
Oh
And
my
growing.
gosh. Sorry.
Trump.
Who does?
on.
Daddy
I have to
Trump?
do
Trump.
this on
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
Doing this on air
I was
right
like, what?
now.
Follow. Let's see what happens. It's like the fastest ever growing account to ever open
Trump.
on
I
TikTok.
better follow it too. Shit.
President Trump.
AI can't ever replace
Plus.
Layla's grip.
Is he the real Donald Trump in here too?
That's fucking hilarious.
There would be like 74 fingers and a dolphin tail wrapped around it. Yeah, your hands would look like what's eating Gilbert Grape? Arnie. Yeah, the UFC fights last night though, y'all.
I
They
didn't
were
watch.
pretty great. You guys, I won't bore all the ladies in the room with my detailed breakdowns of the UFC, which I really, really do miss. And I really would go on X Rooms if any other conspiracy guys or girls were into it and do live, like so I could watch the fights and then chat. I would do that. But there's just too much stuff when it's a pay per view. But it was a really good fight night, and it was really cute, some of the things, but there was a lot of like every fight seemed to have like an American versus Brazilian, an American versus Russian, an American versus whatever. And then Trumpy was there, and it was in New Jersey. So New Jersey is
Newark.
it's not a red state. But when Trumpy walked into that room, it could have been Ronda Rousey at her height. It could have been like, I don't give a damn about my reputation. And it could have been John Jones at his height. Like you pick the fighter, it could have been Cowboy Cerrone. Like you pick the fighter, it could have been them. It could have been Conor McGregor walking into the octagon. Like when Trump walks in, everybody popped off in this thing. And here's
party
the
don't
other
stop.
thing. So Kevin Holland, it didn't matter the color of skin of the American fighter. There wasn't one American fighter that didn't make some effort after they won their fight to go and big ups the American president. Like it was somehow still an honor that it used to be that if you would have won a medal and you were like, you're going to get to go to the White House. It was like, I just won this fight. And they were like getting bigged up by the president and whatever. And this kind of thing. So it's really weird.
A convicted criminal.
And some like Russian fighters, like some like people that everybody would be like, oh, this and that, and this collusion and that collusion. And it's like all the people that were paying respect to him. So whatever news or rhetoric they're getting from their countries, like a lot of these fighters flew in 2 weeks, 1 week in the last couple of days so they could acclimate. But whatever the rhetoric is they're in their country isn't the same rhetoric we're getting here.
No, I know that just from talking to people in Clubhouse and stuff. Like a lot of them were Trump fans.
Yeah.
Whereas Americans weren't, a lot of them weren't, but
you know what's funny?
Was at the UFC
Chaney,
last night.
You don't like gematria that much, but what's interesting, the news lines on every channel, a convicted felon, a convicted felon, a convicted felon. So I put a convicted felon in the gematria just out of curiosity because it's like a repetitive term that they're using now. So oddly enough, it comes up on the English part of the gematria, first word, Donald Trump. And I'm just like, what are the fucking odds that you'd find Donald Trump's name on that list? And it
100%.
Yeah.
This is why I'll tell you 100% no matter the number, because this is why they do it. DJT is a different number than Donald James Trump is a different number than President Trump is a different number than Donald J. Trump is a different number than DJ Trump is a different number than number 45 is a different number than. So what they do is Trump can fit into anything. It's just what name they want to give Trump.
Yeah.
So that's just really how I feel about gematria altogether. That's just how I feel about it. It's like I can validate anything I want to validate. It's all on what word mutation I want to put in to get my validation. So it's just like if I want to say blue sky on a Wednesday, like it's eventually going to give me something like something in the shade of blue in something that will be the number or on the link of Wednesday. That it's
Yeah.
just like a validation of it. Like but I'm sure there's enough people that I've seen get lost in gematria. There must be
Oh
some
yeah.
power there. There must be some power to
Yeah,
get
I remember
lost in
that
the
lady
gemach.
who told us about gematria and how you take the coordinates of something and like get that number, and there's a message from the Bible that connects to the gematria, and this is what that word really means, and it'll give you a whole explanation of what the name or number actually means. And it's just like, wow, that was a lot. It was intense when she was trying to teach us. Remember that lady?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had heard it so many times before from other people that I'm like,
yeah.
does anybody else see this? Like, I feel like it's like somebody moving cups on a street in New York and they're like, pay attention to the ball and watch the cups. I'm like, I can put anything I want, whatever the story is, I can fit it to numbers. I can
Hmm.
validate it. So her whole story, she had her story laid out. I don't want to out her by putting too many details of her story. So I'll just be like, she, is going to be a pink unicorn on the seventh Sabbath. And so every single thing every day from every news story fits her narrative because of she already has it laid out so much. I don't want to even say how crazy her story is because I hope it's true. And it would be too dead in on who it was if I gave out her whole story.
Don't you think that letters are connected to numbers in a way, like, or through their rituals, like 9/11, this, that, 88, this 51, 47? Don't you
Yeah, but I
think,
don't think it
like,
has anything to do with gematria. It's like, to me, the B isn't a 2. To me, the lowercase b is a 6. And so I'm not saying it's the sixth of anything, that it would carry that weight in math. I just think the 6 symbol is the same as the lowercase b symbol, is also the same as what other symbols that I can find in history. And why now do they mark everything with a 666? Why is it important that Biden keeps a build back better with all lowercase b's? So for me, it's not a gematria thing. It's all symbols and sigils. And then if they can convince me or take power out of my sigil or symbol by putting it in the place here or giving it a different tone, like why is this chord vroom always G? Why is this chord boom always B? And so these kind of things aren't real to me. Somebody just decided on a sigil to put on that thing. And that's where my head always goes, is like, why do they want, like you said, 9/11? Why is it so important for them to give us the symbol of a 9 and a 1 1? Why is it so important that that's the symbol of emergency and that stuff? But at the same time, if we were to put that on a calendar, you're saying September 11th, which would be 7/11. Why
7-Eleven.
have we been walking into 7-Eleven grocery like stores our whole life?
Well,
hmm
and 7-Eleven in the casino of it all and gambling.
Yeah, and gambling.
Craps.
So then that's where I'm like, why is it so important that they keep sigilizing or symbolizing? Like, what are they stamping us with these things? That to me, anything that we just talked about and that thing has nothing to do with gematria.
maybe it's the energy that they put behind it through whatever ritual it is. I don't know. I just feel like numbers come into like some weird, like, matrix spell that manifests into like it happening, like some kind of code through numbers.
I
Not
agree.
necessarily, yeah,
If the something that I will say, if you take the where I give credence to, there is such thing as codexes. There's so many such thing as like
yeah.
great like there's like a good word for them because I looked up into them to actually make them for the good guys, where they're like almost decoder rings and like coding of other people speaking languages to other people. I think
Hmm.
there's so many layers of those things going on where it's almost like one
Even
hidden
like
or
Morse code too.
yeah, I do think there's all those things that are, but sometimes I think a lot, like the reason there was such a high like pop off again with gematria, in my opinion, is
Hmm.
because people didn't know how to read the Q maps, or the Q map had already been like
True.
stamped out, and they wanted so badly to have their piece of like, you guys aren't looking at it right, maybe it means this, maybe it means this, maybe it means this. And so it was like all these people that wanted so badly for something that wasn't as complicated as they were trying to make it be all these other complicated things.
Where is Q now?
Maybe Jim's not allowed to play with his computers.
Hmm.
Maybe they're not allowed to if they're under certain indictments. Maybe the military operation's over and it's no longer necessary. I don't know.
Maybe Michael Jackson hasn't come back yet.
Maybe Michael Jackson is waiting for 666. Isn't that weird too? In the Build Back Better of it all on June 6 is June 6. Like we're on June, 6/24.
Yeah, 24,666.
It's crazy. They like to, I don't know what the symbolism means for them. And I don't think it's as simple as where people are like, oh, that's the number of the devil. 777 is the number of angels. And it's like, well, no, because why would they put it on a casino to demonize it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's interesting in New York City today during the Pride Parade? Um, they were both at one side, the Palestinians and the LGBTQ and all that. They're all on one side, but today the Palestinian protesters were blocking off the Pride Parade today. And like we're going at it each other. Yeah. And I'm just like, what
And the gays are like,
fuck?
wait, we're
on
standing
your
with
side.
I thought we were pals, Palestine.
Yeah.
And Palestine's like, no, we have a
There's
religion that we are backing. What are you
No,
not
they're
understand-
like, well, they were like, why are you guys so prideful for when like kids are like being like crucified right now? Like, how you guys doing that? Where's the pride in that? Because there was a lot of pride people on the Palestinian side who were like, yeah, y'all, like, what the fuck are we doing? But it just turned into a mess, apparently.
That's so awesome. And it's kind of awesome too, because it's like, it's proof to me that all the flag waivers and all the like, we were pro Palestine this week, we were BLM last week, we're wearing pussy hats the week before, we're doing this. It lets me know that they're just showing up for the new popular thing that the TV's telling
It's a
them to show up
trend.
for.
Yeah.
And so here comes June, Gay Pride Month, and it's like you guys are showing up thinking the world's all because wait, you guys, we have our scripts from the TV. Oh, we're all still doing the Palestine thing. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
my bad. I thought we had our pride flags and we were going to talk about like poor gays this
Oh
month.
my God, man. But seriously, whatever's going down there and what we're not supposed to talk about, it's actually a pretty ugly sight. And
Well,
it's
the other
just
thing where this thing's happening, you were just saying where the is all happening in New York. All
Uh-huh.
these trials seem to be happening in New York, and the both sides of the trial seem to be getting uglier and uglier, where the people outside are gathering. We have Trump Tower there, which all goes back to the book of Baron Trump and all about the riots in
I
New
was just
York,
thinking
all
that.
on the
Yep.
outside.
Yep.
And so then it's like all this is being set up to where you put this chess piece for this thing to explode and you tell everyone the date. It would be 666. It would be by the 666 building in New
Yeah.
York. But that building
Isn't
isn't the
that Jared's?
666. It's Jared Kushner's building. And
Mhm.
it's not the 666 building anymore. It's the 606 building.
He changed it.
He took the numbers off the top. It is as the 666 building in New York has been there for so long. It's like a staple, a trademark, that 666 on the top. He took them right off the top. It's the 606 building now. So even if you
Nice.
look it up on the WikiLeaks or whatever, it'll say 606 building. It used to be the 666 building until the Kushner properties took it over.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Kushner.
Kushner.
He invested on some property investment in Albania for tourism. I'm like, oh my God, like our countries have sold themselves out. I hate to bring this up, but like I'm seeing it and they're not seeing it. But both Kosovo, Albania, like they sold that country out to Montenegro sold it to the Rockefellers. And I believe Kosovo and Albania are tied with the Soros family.
Layla, can you not say racist terms on the show? Thanks. Go on.
Montenegro?
Just
Montenegro. Montenegro.
I like that you knew exactly what word I was talking about.
Yeah, for you people out there watching. But yeah, little by little, it's just Albanians are not going to exist in Albania anymore. We're just going to be like a lost tribe.
But that's kind of what they've done.
They're finally getting it done.
They have bought pretty much every country. That's what the countries we go to war with. the 4 countries we go to war with, like Afghanistan, Iran, all those are the only ones that they don't own the currency.
Yeah.
I'm
Fucking
gonna
insane.
find something real quick if I can find it.
And I don't even know if there's 4 anymore. It might only be like 3 or 2.
Maybe 2, yeah. Iran and because Afghanistan they already got in
I
there.
think so.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's done. And I think Libya's
Libya's
not
probably-
all there yet. It's halfway there.
I want to pull something up, and I'm sorry, you guys, if this is boring and kind of off like what we normally do, but this is from so long ago. I just think it's important that you see this interview. It is a dude that, say what you will about him, he is just one of my, he's just was one of like the smartest cats I knew, and he taught me so much that I still think he was so far beyond what my brain could comprehend at the time that sometimes I still get to places that I remember him telling me something that I just now get. And so he's just this guy that he was just a normal Seattle dude walking one day to work. He was a sommelier at a restaurant, and this is like in the 90s somewhere. He's older than me. And he was walking as a somm to a restaurant, and there was a riot in Seattle. And this, like, it was peaceful. People were protesting, da 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 da. And he saw a guy with like like fatigues on, essentially, like a metal vest and everything, walk over with an earpiece. He saw the earpiece and he was a total normie. Saw the earpiece in and saw this guy pick up a brick and throw it through a window. And then all of a sudden it was like cops were around the corner ready to pounce and break apart the protest. And he was like, "What? I just saw that happen." And so he's walking to work as a maid, like about to be in his Psalm outfit that he looks like he's in a tuxedo, but he looks like a white guy in a suit. And so when all of a sudden it all busts bad, he gets his ass beat. And he was just walking to work because it was just like set up for it to like trigger in the other way, like once the fire ignited. So then he starts researching all this stuff and everything. So like the controlled opposition or like a rabble rouser, like this type of, it's like controlled op. There's another word for it, and I'll think of it in a second. But it's like they ignite something on purpose just to break apart anything good always. And so he started there, and then he started researching, 9/11. He got into Alex Jones, had some papers written for some really big things, and then he started learning about color revolutions. And he started to realize that the new warfare wasn't that we went in with guns. We went in and we had fake protest, pulled out your leaders, and then the CIA or Mossad or whoever would put in a new leader and then go against the whole party. So it kind of made muck in the country. And then the CIA was just controlling the leader the whole time. So then it controlled the party. So it was a color revolution. And so he did this interview a minimum 12 years ago, probably. And he did it on Russian television. And I just think it's so crazy that we're here now. And I think it's as important that people like pay attention to this for a second. So it's 4 minutes long. And I know that's a long time because we usually don't take things that serious, but it's a good interview. So just real quick. And I'll press play here.
He's an independent researcher and historian in the US. Thanks very
Can you guys
much
hear it
for joining
okay?
us. Well, the US says
Yeah.
it's helping
This isn't
democratic
gonna get us
opposition
taken down,
movements
right?
abroad.
No.
But the question is, who decides who is democratic and who gets that aid?
Well, it's not about democracy at all. I mean, there's one thing that I've learned is that the United States foreign policy has to do with power and power alone. The idea that somehow there's benevolency, that there's a caring grandfather figure here in the United States who wants to help foreign countries become better is a joke. And I think that if you have this idea that there's something positive coming with these democratic regime changes, that's not true at all.
So therefore explain what they hope to get in return for this.
What they hope to get in return is to establish a greater empire. I think, I'm not being overly cynical at all when I say that there's nothing but military power and force at work here. And if they don't like somebody in a particular country, then they're going to get rid of them one way or the other. And this is just a new technique of how to do it. The idea of bombing somebody into submission is kind of old hat these days. The new idea is to say, hey, guess what? It's Christmas, and we're going to give you a great big present. It's called democracy. But in fact, the leaders that they put in are corrupt, and they have only one thing in mind, and that is to kowtow to U.S. interests.
Well, we just saw in that report from Ghana Chichikan that the US state is openly recruiting activists in Cuba. Where are the other likely targets then?
Well, Syria right now is on the hot burner. And, there's a Russian naval base there. And that makes that a real interesting situation for the entire planet. Because here we have a direct conflict between the two superpowers. Obviously, Iran is the key. They tried to do what they called a color revolution a couple years back in Iran during the election process there and failed to do so. It was called the Green Revolution. And my gosh, I think that if they can take over Iran, I think the whole ball game is going to be changing. So, I mean, if you have Syria and Iran, both Shiite as a bloc, and they're looking to break that apart and create a new Middle East, or as Israel likes to say, a greater Middle East.
But,
a greater Israel.
But just looking from an historic perspective, don't past attempts to spread democracy in parts of the world suggest future success is very likely with this initiative?
I'd have to agree with you. I think that the gullibility of the population is extreme. There's no doubt that people have good intentions. There's no doubt that they want things to be more democratic. But what they don't realize is that the IMF is going to come in and restructure their economy to suit the World Bank and the ministers of finance. And this is not something that they understand, and it's not their fault. And so as long as the United States can continue to sell a feel-good idea without any real substance, then I think people are going to continue to fall for it. And that's a shame, because we're certainly hoping.
Anyways, this was during Barack Obama's presidency. This, dude, the Obama deception, he handed him out. He would always grab me for real. I'd be in the middle of so busy at a restaurant, and he would grab me like I was in a mad rush. And he would just be like, stop what you're doing. And just remember, if you're ever in line for the ovens, just say no and they'll all follow you. And then we'd go back to work, and I'd be like, you're such a fucking weird person. And I wasn't that big, I was a conspiracy theorist, but I just was like, he always would tell me, you're just a pony playing in the sunshine, pretending you're a conspiracy theorist. That's what he would tell me back then. And this is in 2011 and in 2012, dipshits in the chat. I felt like I prefaced all of that beforehand. That this is old, this is from an interview, and really I was saying it because everything Layla was saying about this is what's happening, this is how they're dismantling the Middle East, and this is how important it is for everything in the world that you don't think. That's what this guy is saying.
Well, check this out. So one of our fans, Sean Roper, he sent this to me, and there's a bill against DJI is expected to move into the U.S. Congress in June, which would impact U.S. operators' access to DJI drones. This applies to recreational, commercial, and government use. If DJI's FCC authorizations are revoked, U.S. operators would no longer be able to access new DJI drones, and their existing drone fleets may even have to be grounded. This bill is based on inaccurate claims and contradicts a technology-based policy approach that would raise the bar on drone security overall. It's kind of weird that that's interesting.
Well, we already have drones in the sky. All they
You guys don't think my grip's okay? Nothing about my grip?
No.
Just Layla's grip's good? Nothing about mine?
Oh, they're talking about
I was doing this earlier. Yeah. Yeah. So all of that was all about the Greater Israeli Project, right?
Yeah.
And all of these drone technology, don't they use already in Israel?
Yep.
They do. It's like they were always the test subjects from the beginning, even with the stuff in the arm.
I even
That
think
stuff.
like the Apple brain of all of our Apple phones is in Israel.
Okay.
I could just be making that up right now, but when I just went through my weird
I have that
file right
feeling.
then in my brain, it was like, "What's the Apple phone doing in the Israeli file?"
Yeah, they're the ones who started 3D printing out of like dead cells of humans.
Oh my gosh, let me
Apparently.
play a few things. Let me play 3D chess into 5D chess for a second. When 9/11 happened, we heard that there was dancing somebodies. That it was like dancing somebodies. That was
That
very
sounds
excited
like
9/11
stews.
happened. Okay. So then also when the iPhone, one of the things about our iPhone that was different than every other phone is that our iPhone didn't have a back door in it for the cops or the feds to be able to use anytime. So then there was the San Bernardino false flag. The San Bernardino false flag goes like by the wayside. It goes away really, really quick. And they just tell us that it was like this tiny little lady and this man, and I think they were Muslim, and per the paper, and they do all this crazy shooting, but all the people that saw this was like, there's no way. These were men that did this. Military trained men. It wasn't a lady. She couldn't carry this stuff. It was like the people that saw this were like, this is ridiculous. But in the San Bernardino false flag, the number one thing was that these terrorists used iPhones, and the Fed was pushing Apple as hard as they could to get the back door into everybody's iPhone because of that false flag. I don't know if it ever happened. But again, I'm like, now let's pick another false flag just randomly out of my false flag hat, because it just all seems to attach to the Mossad to me. Sandy Hook. You have Sandy Hook, which we all are like, well, damn, that was a really sloppy false flag. And so we all say Alex Jones doesn't say shit about Sandy Hook. There's a million conspiracy theorists by then, all being like Sandy Hook videos. We have the run of YouTube, and we don't need Alex Jones anymore. In fact, most of the Alex Jones videos that made the most bump were somebody else's videos that Alex Jones just pushed. He just played. So it was like we were all doing stuff like pushing these things out. It wasn't Alex Jones, but we got too good. There was too many of us little digital soldiers before there was Q, all researching it, and we were like, this is a false flag, and we were loud about it. And so they had to wrap Alex Jones up in this fake trial that he owed fake money to a fake actor. Also, we'd shut the fuck up because we'd be like, oh my gosh, look at Alex Jones, could be crazy. But really, Alex Jones, guess what else he is? Mossad. So I'm like, that's just three. You want to keep playing the false flag games, and who I can keep attaching it to. So I just am like, wow. Anyway, back to Israel and the drones.
Well, it's all them. It's all them. Everything, all the false flags, all the destruction or the attempt to destroy this fucking country. Most of our Congress, most of our senators and whatever House representatives, they're all Zionists. Majority of them are Zionists. So it's like, who's really running our country, y'all? Like, what is this? Do you not see the invasion? Like, they say that's the border, but look within our government. Like, what's going on there? Like, the majority of all the leaders are pro-Zionist.
And well, even like Joe Biden, he's like, you do not have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. That's what everybody keeps thinking that.
And it's not Jewish. It's a Zionist
it's not
thing.
Jewish. It's not Jewish at all. It's a Zionist thing. And you can find Joe Biden saying it over and over again. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
It just takes me back to like being a kid and my mom explaining to me that almost
Roger
every
Stone.
actor in Hollywood was the J word too. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I never understood that. I was like, really? Like, oh,
Jesuit?
Yeah, that one.
Isn't that funny? We can all say Jesuits. We can all say Masons, Scientologists,
My
Christians,
favorite
mock
video.
Muslims, like mock fags, mock whatever the word.
Roger Stone.
But
that video of him coming out and is like, I'm a Zionist. I am a proud Zionist. And, and then cursing out Donald Trump and how he's going to be put in jail and all of that. Like, he actually turned out to be against Trump the whole time.
Just now he did this?
No, this was like last year.
Because he is so he's so on the Trump train.
I don't know. I saw
I don't know
videos.
either, but when it's like you never really see
He
Trump as
was
Roger, but he was up Alex Jones' ass for that year before the election.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna find that video and I will send it to you when I find it. Just remind me because both
Make sure
videos.
you are following Godpill Angel 333 and Godpill Angel 33 to
33
find all the most interesting takes
weird posts.
on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, do it.
Do it if you want to
Do it.
expand your mind. Some of it's true.
Some of it's not.
Some of it's not, and some of it has maybe never been asked before, and that is the important part.
Yeah,
If
just to philosophize on
sometimes
ideas.
just if you can ask a question that hasn't been asked in a long time is a cool.
Mhm.
It's just as good as an invention.
Yeah.
Yeah, an idea.
Or to put things in a new perspective where everybody's always said it's black, it's white, it's black, it's white, it's black, it's white, and then you have a new argument and
It's
you're like,
black. It's
yeah,
white.
you're like, what if what if it's turquoise? And everyone's like, what?
Huh?
What's turquoise? And you explain
What
it, and they're like,
spectrum can you see through? Like, do you see the world the way we do? Like,
what happened? I know. I guess this week will be Trumpy trial all the way up until then. We don't think elections are going to happen. There's no way that debate happens. That's politics.
yeah.
I don't know. Has any celebrities died? Are we dealing with any loose factors of celebrities?
Robert De Niro outside the Trump trial, like sitting there, like going
That
on
was
a
great.
whole speech about Lincoln and then fucking bashing Trump.
Yeah, but I loved what the people did to him.
I
Everyone
didn't see that part.
following.
Like, I just turned it off. I
Oh,
was like, I don't need to hear no
What happened?
celebrity
oh, it was
fucking
great.
preaching
Like,
politics.
people were like following him after the speech and like cursing him out, and like he was getting like his ass handed to him, and he was losing his temper too with the people, and he's like,
Because he
"Fuck you."
probably
They were
thought.
like,
I think the way the TV sells New York is that you're just going to be able to go in New York and Cuomo it up, and I
nah,
think the people of New York aren't what the TV's telling us the people of New York are.
nah. Yeah, and then maybe the younger crowd are just still lost with the older crowd. Like they might say it to like other Democrats that they're Democrats, but low key they're voting red. Like either they don't want to discuss it and like go through the headache of it, but majority are like pro Trump, especially now. Before, but now, yeah, you could see it. You could see it everywhere. It's fucking nuts. When the whole thing about him like getting arrested, or I mean, him being convicted, everyone at the bar was talking about it. Like everyone was upset about it. Like some of them didn't even want to vote, but they're like, this is fucking a shame, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well,
If I
okay.
say, you know how like a big huge thing when you hear like people are like, we are a government that is supposed to be set up as a separation of church and state. Did anyone ever theorize that that just meant that the government's not allowed to name a queen as sovereign? That's the separation, that they're not allowed to ever say that God said about your government? Did anyone ever theorize that that's
The
what they meant
supreme
by the philosophy
authority.
separation of church and state? And not anything to do with that you shouldn't be a reverent person in whatever way you choose and still want to take part in your community?
Yeah, you should still be allowed that, but it's about not being able to be like, God told me.
God told me. You're not
God
allowed
gave
to
me
go
the
to your
authority.
mom and say, God told me to tell you, not to get the thing that's going to get the secret society of good guys
It
taken down
was
if they talk about it.
it was totally God. God did tell you that.
That's my favorite. I love
God
it.
tells us a lot of things.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know. Somebody wrote in all caps, let's not forget Trump hired Alex Acosta, Jeffrey Epstein's sweetheart deal lawyer, as labor secretary. Yeah, let's not forget you wouldn't know the name Fauci if he didn't put him up as the head of your whole entire COVID. So when you look it up, who was in charge of the COVID response team? Only two people, Fauci and Pence. And so when all of that unravels and falls back, it's never going to fall back on DJT. It's going to fall back on Judas and Faggy Fouch.
Oh, you know what was great that I saw this week? This interview with Cuomo, the CNN guy. the Cuomo guy,
Yeah.
whatever his fucking name is.
Queermo.
Yeah, he was trying to like say, "Oh, I never said the hydroxy whatever was a bad thing or whatever. I never made fun of people or called them out or ivermectin too." So finally they're like, "Oh no, you didn't. Like, here's a clip of what you said out of your mouth, to everybody who thought
It's on
was
the
going
record,
the
buddy.
on the alternative route that you went." And then he showed it to him and he's trying to defend himself. He's like, "Bro, you can't defend yourself right now. Like, you can't. Like, you were shunning people for going the normal route while you were telling everybody to, do the
And I would
dance."
at least say there was probably a good stretch of 365 days where you guys all cowered and shivered inside your houses that somebody stood there maskless on the TV every single day while the media said, "He won't wear a mask. He won't wear a mask," and tried to tell you about something called HCQ that I don't even want to say too many times on here because that'll be a thing that gets us taken down.
Yep.
And tried to tell you about that way before he said in his first recorded response,
Yep.
"If you have to go and jab yourself up with a coward juice, just do the J&J. At least there's only one.
Yeah.
But it's your prerogative and shouldn't be forced on anyone."
Yeah.
After he told you for a year about HCQ, which Barry and Honey Sherman were murdered in their house for because they were Canadian billionaires who actually
Yep.
bought the patent and were going to give it away for free to cure malaria everywhere else
Yeah.
that Bill Gates has spread his fucking viruses.
UV lighting,
So,
bleach.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, remember
she's
everybody
telling us
talking
to
about
take
Donald Trump's
bleach.
talking about bleach.
And the
Oh,
fuck?
Donald Trump says we could have emergency packets and just be fine. Oh, you mean all the same stuff that literally you're doing right now, you cowards?
Yeah,
Like,
do you know what
so
was killing people?
yeah, the only thing that
Rem
you had to wait for a
des
wacky vac for is your
Evere.
coward ass to get back to work and put your kids where they needed to go. You were the only one coward about it. And so it took some guy on the TV to eventually be like, okay, apparently me with a mask and being a 70-year-old who caught the thing and got out of the hospital, not using any of those whack vacs in 3 days in front of all of America to see, you still felt the need to take your healthy young child and go do it. So don't
Listen,
blame a president because you're a coward.
and this is how it worked, okay?
Period.
They create a mass hysteria. When you create a mass hysteria on the TV and everybody's watching it, do you know what happens to humans? They actually become sick. Because of that fear, they get sick physically and they have symptoms of what whatever symptoms were like, okay? So then they were going into these facilities that I don't want to say where
Abby's
you
just
go and heal
like,
yourself.
this channel got taken down an hour ago. She already just accepted it.
Jim's gonna be screwed.
We can't help it. Keep talking.
No,
Let's keep
I know.
talking
No,
in
this is
these
so
words.
good.
I love
It's
it.
so
Yeah.
good, but
So, okay, you went into those facilities. You strapped them into a ventilator. You were given the drug Remdes, that major one.
Remdesivir.
Yeah, and then that's it. They were paid to off people. They were paid lump sums to get people
Over
on the machines, to take the
$30,000.
machine, die, like kill them, and then do the whole process for 4 different things. Even to take the things, I don't even want to say the word, but you guys
And
know.
that is all. This is why I saw fucking Dave Smith's faggy ass brought up the fucking libertarian faggy asses, where they're like, he tore Cuomo a new asshole. Who cares? Who's Cuomo? What's he running for? Why waste any energy on that motherfucker?
Yeah.
If anything, unless he's going to crime for killing your grandma and going to prison for it, who gives a shit about that debate? All that was 2 guys jerking off when Dave's on Joe Rogan being
he mentioned
PCR
that.
tested up the fucking nose every other fucking day to talk. So those pussy asses like Dave was one of these guys I'm talking about that wore a mask every day and tested in New York.
Do you know
and
why they
played
said that to
along.
him? Because he was on the Joe Rogan show and agreeing with somebody who was talking about whatever Q, about it, and he was agreeing and like starting to like promote it as a good thing. And he's like, "What the fuck? How could you say that on one show and then like what you said during CNN times was totally fucking different?" He wanted to shut him up about it. So like, what's your deal with that? And then he still tried to say he didn't agree, but completely agreed on the other show. So like, it depends on the money thing. Like,
All
do you know
about the money.
Yeah, the money. Like Joe Rogan makes all the money that you work at CNN, all of you guys put together, that's what he's making on his show. He's like, so of course you're going to be on his show and say this, this, and this to cover your ass or agree or just for your ratings. It was so cleverly done. He deserved that, honestly, like to be put on the fucking spotlight like you fucking hypocrite, like you fucking piece of shit. Your word means nothing. Like you're not real
But
news.
I
Like
would
you're
tell you
garbage.
just in general for Dave Smith or whatever fucking pedestal that guy's on, I feel like
hmm
you could probably find me whenever all this shit was going on a podcast pointing out frazzle drip art right behind these
Yeah,
motherfuckers the
that would
whole
be great.
time, letting you know who they fucking were back then. Why
Mm,
the whole time when they're like, oh, we need 50,000 respirators, and Trump was like, you don't need that. But he knew they were trying to put all the deaths on him. So he's like, you want respirators? They're not coming from China. We'll make American respirators and we'll send them
mhm.
all to you. You want PPE? You can have it, but it's not coming from the boat that they're trying to force come on shore that is covered with the bioweapon. Like y'all have a short attention span, and
Yeah,
half of you out there with your Trump derangement syndrome, it still comes from your newspapers and your CNN and your same Fox News rhetoric. I don't understand how you don't see that you're still brainwashed by the same thing they want you to be brainwashed by, and you probably never listened to a speech.
mm,
It's like the same people that they're like, because they told me to be mad at this dictator. They told me to be mad. You never
I
listen to
will
a speech because
never
it's in
listen to
another
him
language.
speak. I will
Good
never
thing
listen
you
to him speak.
good thing
Like,
you
how
can
many
take
times have you
yeah.
heard that? And you're like, but if you listened, you would actually have
many
credibility
things to
in
agree
choosing,
on.
or you could stand in your stance. You could take your stance.
Take your
But if you
stance,
can't even,
but if
you
you're
can't take a stance against something that you won't even listen to that side of the argument.
Yeah. What about that white ship that was sent to New York that
that
Trump
was
said?
another thing for them because
Yeah.
they wanted there to be mass graves in San Francisco and New York. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you the Comfy and the Mercy or the Comfort and the Mercy. And they're going to be two huge ships that are hospitals. And I'm going to shut down Madison Square Garden and turn it into a hospital for you. And guess what? None of it ever got used because it was
Mm.
all a ruse so they could keep your grandparents inside the nursing homes and keep killing them so they could
I
keep
thought
collecting
the
that
ship
$30,000 checks.
I thought the ship was for like all the kids they found in the tunnels and that they were boarding them on ship and like healing them there.
Well, I don't like sometimes
That's
when things get in that world, that's when people
hmm
start are like JFK Jr.'s alive. And
yeah.
there's things that I can just prove that I know that when I stay on this firmness, I like to think that stuff is true, but there's other stuff that I know for a fact to be true. And so
hmm
it's not that I hope kids were rescued from tunnels because we all
Yeah.
know there's tunnel systems under Tampa, New York, Portland,
And
Oregon,
all
San Francisco,
connecting to
Los
these
Angeles,
like
Michigan,
weird
Colorado.
buildings.
You name it, I'll tell you the place there's a tunnel system. It's not just Comet Ping Pong. But
Yeah.
I feel like a big, huge thing. It's like I want it would be cool if JFK Jr. was alive, but in the grand scheme of all of life, do you think any of the kids you know, any of the minorities you know, anyone would ever even stop and clutch their pearls if JFK Jr. walked out of a steam tunnel right now and was alive, except your fucking mom who would charge up her vibrator? Like nobody cares that like he wouldn't be big enough to be somebody to pull a like Mashiach thing that would heal
Uh,
the world, make it a
well,
better
yeah,
place.
because he
He
was
wouldn't
dead
be
all this time. And like that's JFK's son, like, oh my God.
I
Like he's
almost
here
think the
for
Q thing. Let me
revenge.
tell you another Q kids out there, if you happen to be watching this, let me tell you another philosophy to look at your little maps with. They told you way back when Q Jr. was not that JFK Jr. was not alive. But you guys kept pushing this thing and picking weird people out of crowds and saying this were them. And that's part of the reason no one believed any of the real stuff that other people were trying to say. When what if you relook at your Q maps and instead of thinking JFK Jr. is alive, you think maybe the future proves the past and they were trying to set up a Kennedy to take control of this rhetoric called RFK Jr. right now.
Mm,
So you have an
Absolutely.
actor acting his role that this thing told you was going to happen, that he's not JFK. He doesn't back the same things.
Where did this conspiracy come from that JFK Jr. is alive? Was
They
it
do that
Q?
with almost everyone.
It was
I don't
because
know.
Q things mentioned certain things. And if you actually look into JFK Jr.'s death, he he was murdered enough and blatantly murdered enough that he could have known that murder was coming and was rich enough to have faked that same death because he could have known that murder was going to come his whole life until he was dead.
Yeah.
Like they were eventually going to off him. And there is a lot about George Magazine. If you're a person that's into symbology, there's so much about George Magazine with every single person that's on the covers from Sex in Hollywood with a picture of Tom Hanks. Like
Yeah.
that I think this motherfucker was outing these people the whole entire time.
Mm.
And I mean, even the George of it all, George comes up a lot in the Q maps. That's why people link a lot of that symbology to it, where they're like, oh, it must mean JFK Jr. is still alive. Like, but
I
no,
went
maybe it means to
so
look at
deep.
George Magazine.
I went so deep in the JFK rabbit hole, JFK Jr. rabbit hole. Like to the point where they had a picture of I guess the crash of, or the rest of the rubble of the crash, and it was like in I guess an aircraft room, like where you carry a small plane. It was in one of those rooms, and you can see like the back of these FBI agents' jackets that said FBI, and one looked like the head of JFK Jr. and one like the wife of his, but just their backs of it. And what was interesting, how it was all set up, because why would you have do not enter sign when you have the material in an enclosed system where FBI is searching? Like, why would you need that tape there? It was like a really done like breakdown of like, oh, this could be really them, like investigating their own plane. They're part of this plan. They're hiding in secret because they're all going to come back out. Princess Diana, Michael Jackson, JFK Jr. Who else was it? Another big name. That they're all going to come back and like tell everybody what the big true plan is, and like take down the cabal. It was like a really, really interesting rabbit hole.
If I look into, if you look into the JFK Jr. things, there's a lot of really cool connections. And if you look into I was obsessed with it, one, because he trained the same place the terrorist trained in Vero Beach, Florida, which is my stomping grounds. And he flew a Piper aircraft, which is a company that they make their aircrafts out of my town. So the thing about his crash, when things happen like that, it's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this plane? And so a big, huge thing, just my like, oh, we don't make the Piper is a bomb ass plane. Well, when you look into his crash, the Piper keeps its gasoline in its wings. And when you're flying an airplane, a smaller airplane, sometimes, you take a little gas out of this wing and then you have to turn a switch to take gas out of the other wing or the plane becomes uneven. And so that switch on JFK Jr.'s plane was found turned off. And his flight pattern is a straight line to a direct nosedive. So if I pushed your wheel all the way down, like flying, imagine if I pushed your wheel down. In a plane is similar to a boat. You can't correct without fuel coming out of your engine. So if I pushed his thing down, even if I just hit him on the back of the head and pushed him down, he could pull up and you would have seen his flight path come back up. But because that switch was turned off, he could never, even if he pulled up in the immediate, in the panic, he wouldn't have known. The other thing about JFK Jr. is he never, ever flew without a co-pilot. Ever. And he was not a reckless pilot at all. He was a very good pilot. And one of the things he was doing in the moment, he was trying to get hours for night flight. So when you're a pilot, it's the same as a captain. You drive a certain size boat, and once you get good at that boat, then you get to maybe get a bigger vessel. For pilots, they have to do certain things. So you don't get to do anything without hours booked. And so JFK was in the middle of booking his night hours. That's the reason they took a night flight to Martha's Vineyard. So he was in the middle of doing this. Everything was found inside of his plane except for the co-pilot chair. So they say if, like, let's say they put somebody on the plane to do all this, they got him out of there or ejects or something, but they find every part of this plane except for the fucking co-pilot chair. Another really odd thing, which you got to give the National Enquirer credit for, like Bruno Mali's shoes, they took so many pictures of JFK Jr., maybe more than anybody at the time. Like before there was Paris Hilton, before there was Nicole Richie, there was only Trump and JFK Jr. They were the only two people that everybody was taking pictures of just for being rich or famous. Like they were just famous for being famous or somebody's kid. Like we didn't really know why. There was just pictures of them everywhere. And so JFK Jr., never flew without his flight log. Ever, ever, ever. There was pictures of his flight log on top of his luggage all the time because of the amount of pictures that the National Enquirer took of him. So they even found this luggage zipped without the flight log in it. So there's just little things that could JFK Jr. have killed himself or like accidentally, like, oh, he couldn't see night, the sky becomes the ocean when you're flying sometimes. Yeah, but guess what? When you're flying upside down, you still hang upside down in your chair. You know what inertia feels like. So it's just like there's certain things about it that he could have known enough to know the thing was coming. And he could have, because they're here, I'll tell you guys a conspiracy. People say that Trump and JFK Jr. were really great friends, great friends for a really long time, and that Trump was never supposed to be the plan. He was like plan D. Like plan A was JFK Jr. He was always plan A, but then he got killed. And he was such good friends with Trump. That's when this whole thing starts of like, oh, there's this underbelly of these things, da 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 da. Whatever way you can place it, they tried to build Trump a new Air Force One when he was president, and he turned it down. He said, not only did he not take their Secret Service, he kept his own security. He wouldn't fly on their Air Force One. He got his own plane, like he had his plane. And so then by the time he decided with the airline company on the new Air Force One, it never becomes Biden's plane. Biden's flying in the old Air Force One, the old design. The design that Trump picked for the new Air Force One is actually the Trump plane right now, with all the design that the Air Force One design was supposed to be. The other thing ironic about it is all the same colors as JFK Jr.'s airplane.
Yeah.
And so people say that is a big, huge, like red, white, and blue red pill for you. So yeah, I don't care. I'm a red pill. I saw somebody, they're like red pill babes, and I'm like, shout out Bella Red Pill Babe while we're at it. But yeah, I am. You can't stop me from being red pilled because every black pill that these people are trying to show you with their bloody writing and the same thing that CNN and Fox, even the video of Jeff Friesen that I just showed you, that is from 2011. That was the kind of stuff that I was looking into in 2011. So when you guys think the world's going to end and the four horsemen are at our, I've been watching you think this since 2012. I've been watching you guys think this since, like, if this person becomes the president, they're the Antichrist. And I don't know everything about the Bible, but I was under the impression no one would know when it was the Antichrist. So it would be really ironic to me if all these conspiracy theorists that didn't know whether or not some vaccine, the virus, blah, mask was real, that they're going to know who the Antichrist is. But they want to tell you it on every video with like some like clickbaity thing. And so I just am like, I know for a fact I've been doing this longer than any conspiracy person you can pick out there. I know for a fact. I've been looking into everything that you can say enough to mock it. But I also know that all the people that are telling you the end is nigh, I've been watching them wake up. I watched them first learn like, oh, this is like I watched them learn what the Jesuit word first was. I watched them just like learn what Israel was. I watched them learn about the evils of the Catholic Church. I watched them first learn about China. I watched them first like, hey, have you ever read Mein Kampf? I watched all this happen. I'm still watching it. And so when I see the people that wake up and they just learned about, you guys, Epstein Island and all this stuff was happening, the end is nigh. No, we've all been saying that for the end. We're all together now. Welcome to the party. I always picture that Die Hard, Bruce Willis. Welcome to the party, pal. Like, there's no need to kiss your ass goodbye. Take your fucking mask off and like choose your weapon of choice. Decide if it's your big fucking mouth, if it's your big fucking muscles, if you're going to build a skill set to take care of your family. But it sure as shit can't be editing videos to scare other grown-ups. But that seems to be like a lot of the conspiracy realm.
A lot of them. I'm going to say most.
I like to play devil's advocate sometimes with this whole idea of like presidents, and is this a movie? Is this real? Was our country already sold out? And this is just happening just for our entertainment till shit really hits the fan. Like I go so many fucking ways on what this could fucking be, but the amount of hate that this man is receiving and the amount of scrutiny and bullshit is just like ridiculous and laughable at this point that I mean, they hate him for a fucking reason. So it's like, what is that fucking reason? It's a major reason. Why? It's America first. Okay, it's not Israel first, it's America first. Yeah, he does help out Israel. That's one thing I don't really agree with because like I see what's happening there, but I mean I have no power in that. I care about this country and not I can't do anything for that country, you know, like
Even
and
like
I've said it before, I would fight for this country before my own. So
and
like
I think like there is so much power of certain things in our government. There's like a known power that we're all not allowed to say. They always say whoever you're not allowed to talk about, that's who has the power. Like
yeah.
whatever things you're not allowed to say. You've heard me say fag 400 times. So
Like
it's like
Lord
when
Voldemort.
yeah, it's almost like whether it's like
He who must not be named.
fags or Muslims or whatever minority thing they want to play with, it's really just that's what they're using as the red shield because it's about to get bloody. So that's what they're using as the Rothschild to put in front of them so nobody notices the thing. Like it's really never if you talk to any run of the mill Muslim, they don't give a fuck about blowing up your buildings or thing. And if you talk to a run of the mill gay, they never want to dress in a run of the mill gay man. They're like, no, I don't want to dress in a dress and read to children.
Yep.
It's like all the things that the media keeps telling. Like if you look at Trump, this is what the media would have done if he sent the National Guard into your state. It would have said, he's Hitler. And all of you guys would have been like, he's Hitler. And none of you guys really even know who Hitler is.
Mhm.
Like, it's so crazy when if we're talking about the same rhetoric right now about the same lie being told to us, the same people you're comparing this homie to is the same one homie that was trying to stand up against everything we're watching now. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm thinking when even like I have my 5,000 hours of research of what? Of my fake degree that I just paid a bunch of money for, that if I regurgitated the information that was wrong, I got a better grade just so they
Yeah.
handed me a grade for my money because they told me I'd get a better job sitting in a cubicle or driving a car selling something I didn't believe in. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Also,
not the real stuff. There's got to be intuition in there involved as well.
also as a philosopher, you should be into the idea of being part of the community. It doesn't always mean just being in isolation because you're not being part of the all, you know? And part of being a philosopher is being in the experience. So even if you sometimes think, oh, maybe it's just true or maybe it's not true, maybe the elections are real, maybe they're not real, I'd rather vote for somebody who says publicly on record that they are for America first and will put this country first no matter what than any other candidate out there. So it's like be part of the community and do the community thing and vote for what you think is right. And Trump would be the right candidate in my eyes, and most of the majority of people who see what he's done and the things that he says if you watch what he says, because man, that's like my fucking spirit animal sometimes.
I'm so glad
I
we're not a church. I'm glad we're not a cult yet because we're allowed
Yeah.
to like
Well,
pick a
here's the other
candidate.
thing I have to say, and everybody knows I love Daddy. But here's
Yeah.
what I will tell you that would mean more to me than you ever fucking voting for a president again. Will you just learn your goddamn mayor's name? Will you know who your sheriff is? Will you know one representative on your any student body that runs the schools in your town? Will you know one in Parks and Rec person? Will you know one person that runs any bug commission in your town? Do you know who is in charge of spreading the salt on your road and what kind of salt they're using or what kind of chemicals are going into your waterway? Don't ever vote for a president again. Just take part in where you actually live. Just take a little part in where you actually live, because I know a lot of you big talkers out there about moving off grid. If you live off grid, if you're Ben Balderson, you never have to vote again. Ben Balderson is the king on his lands. He's the president amongst men. He doesn't need a president. He takes care of everything. I
Sovereign
know
true.
motherfucker.
he's
Yep.
a sovereign
Sovereign.
guy because he has the skill set to keep himself sovereign. None of y'all are out there are Ben Balderson. So
Yeah.
let's stop pretending that you are, because that would be us LARPing the same way us pretending that trans people are the opposite sex. Us pretending that you're a male that's taking care of society in any way would us be LARPing too.
Yeah.
So I feel like let's be real. And you don't live off grid. You live in a community somewhere, a city somewhere, a town somewhere. So take part in protecting the women and children of that town. And if you're not doing it by learning a skill set and building for them, you're not obviously protecting them with your gun, because look what's happening to the place around you. And maybe that's not a great idea. So maybe you could just learn who the people running your community are. And if you don't know who they are, or you think they all suck, maybe you need to become one of those people.
The
Yeah.
micro and the macro, it is. It's more
Start
important.
off
Your
small.
immediate community is more important than the United States.
It's like a pea in the mattress. Under the
Police
100
officers are not
mattresses.
sheriffs. Do you guys
could
know
be a-
that your police officers are just army? They're just a branch of the corporation of your town, city. They have nothing to do with anything. Do you know your sheriff are voted in?
Yeah.
That's quite a difference.
Even our chief of police is, because we have
Yeah.
sheriffs and police. They're different.
You guys all live in a constitutional republic, that your mayor has more say-so over where you live than your governor. And your governor has more say-so over where you live than your president. And the only thing I believe that all this rhetoric that we're seeing with the jam Supreme Court is everything's supposed to get hit back to your state. That's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to go. And if if your governor's doing a good job, he's supposed to hit everything down to the county. And if they're doing a good job, they're supposed to hit it down to the town. And if the town's doing a good job, it's asking the neighborhoods and the streets and bringing the people together. And that's how a
Yeah.
community should work. But most of you all know who my governor is in a state most of you haven't been to, but don't know your own governor or one platform they stand on. And that is more wild to me. Like, more of you out there actually have hate for Donald Trump than you actually do about the people who didn't let your kid play in a park for 3 years. And
Yeah.
that's wild to me.
Or is
It is-
allowing, transgender talk in kindergarten classes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like,
It
what?
is funny to me
That's
that
your school board. It's not the president that's allowing transgender talk in your schools.
No. Yeah.
It's your school board locally. And if you don't know who any of those fucks are allowing that to happen, I say
What the
shame on
fuck?
you. I
Yeah.
say shame on you that you know what color
I need to
President
do my
Trump's
job,
tie
too.
was yesterday, and you know what DeSantis's shoe size is, but you have no idea who any of the school board members are where your children actually go for a third of their life. That's a
Yeah.
shame on you. That's bad parenting. And so you can look at me all you want and be like, Chaney's so half woke because she wants to vote for Trump. But Chaney also knows people where she shakes their hands, has hung out with them, has been to barbecues that actually run real shit that matter. So if any of my people were ever in trouble in my town, I know my people. None
Yeah.
of you know the same, but you think you're going to call Trump or Biden for help? But you're
Nah.
so mad at them. You're going to tell everyone not to vote because you're too lazy to learn the people that run the place where you live. And you call yourself a man, okay. But I only allow those people to be Ben Balderson. Because if you know how to milk a cow and you know how to build a house for your wife, and if you know actually how to feed your family, you've grown enough food to feed them, then kudos to you, and I will shut the fuck up. But I know, and you know, that ain't you. That ain't you, and I'm not LARPing that it is.
Most people. Yeah. Agreed.
So until you're person enough to step up and sit on the school board where your child actually goes to school, at least learn the fucking people that are having the say so.
Or
Yeah, and you have
go to
people
the
who don't have
meetings.
kids
It's
or
the
who are
parents that
doing
go to
it
the
too.
meetings and the parents that are going to the meetings that are actually like advocating for their children and like, hell no, my kid ain't wearing a mask. Hell no, this
But
isn't
that's-
happening. And
That's the thing. It's not just parents who are going. It's people who don't have kids who are going and doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
Community. It's community.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
And it took a community. It took a community back when. Do you realize if one of the three of us back when, if we were all in a tribe and something happened to one of us, why they, like, let's say Abby had a baby. If she had a baby and we were in tribe back when and something happened to Abby on our hike from here to there, and all of a sudden me and Layla are trapped with this baby, guess what? We'll start lactating to feed
Mhm.
Abby's fucking baby. And Granny
Probably.
will, and Sister will, and all the other ladies will, because we're going to make sure that baby survives. And if you're a good man, you bring us nutrients so we all eat, so we have nutrients come out of us so we can feed the babies. So it's just like we're quite magical people, and we should show up in that way for each other, that I might not wet nurse your baby anymore, but I want to show up for your kid at their school and say, this is fucked up. They're not allowed to teach this sexual innuendo to your children at school, because I don't want Abby to get shit at school. I want her to be able to go there and still bring cupcakes and not have to worry about anything. It doesn't cost me anything to show up for the kids that I aren't my kids, but they are my kids, because the same way Layla said, America first, they're my fucking kids.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
like, take fucking part
Who's
in the
going to
town
take
you're
care of
living.
you eventually too? That's the
Yeah,
thing,
who
is
is
that
going to take care of me if I don't give a
like
fuck?
I get so pissed
Yeah.
when like adults are like, I won't vote for anything to do with the school district because I don't have kids, and it's like out to improve the school district, and it's like, you know what? These are the
What if
kids
you
that will
do have
someday
one?
be taking care of you, though. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be old. You know, this is you investing in education of little kids, or not even just education. Investing in children is also investing in your future personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, if we don't educate those kids right, then when this cycle comes up again, we're all in the nursing homes on respirators.
Yes,
Mhm.
we are. Exactly.
And so I feel like it is a big, huge deal that we don't just sing it, but bring it. And every day I will tell you, it was all of your guys' kids, while you had masks on, that kept me without mine. I knew it was good for them to see me smile at them, even if it was only some little kooky lesbian that looks like Ellen. I knew it was good for them to see me smile, as good as it was for all the scolding fucking people shaking their head at me, for me to just smile back. I knew it mattered. And look at all you now. If I wasn't brave enough, if Layla wasn't brave enough, if all of you out there that were the one person in your town without your mask, speaking your loud mouth, weren't brave enough, then all of them wouldn't have known that the doomsday was never going to come. They would have never known that that whole fake innuendo was fake if you didn't have a calling to stand alone. And that is why it matters that sometimes you're standing alone and it's not your own child seeing you. It's somebody
Yeah,
else's child.
Yeah.
And that's just as fucking important.
it is. Absolutely. Because
Crazy.
it's just the way that it works. I mean, you make an
We
impact
mentally
on
fucked.
people that you don't know all the time.
Yeah, we mentally kind of fucked that generation up going through that whole experience.
As a public
It was
school
bad.
teacher, yeah, I saw what I saw, like going into it, like like the meet the teacher night right before we went back to school, and it was like these kids coming in, and they were talking behind their parents' backs. They wouldn't even like make eye contact and speak to me. And normally it's like, "Hi, how are you doing? I'm going to be your teacher," you know. And it's like, oh, they were like whispering behind their mom's back what to tell me.
Yeah.
And these are not little children, you know. They're 10 years old. So it was so bizarre to me, like how I was like, what the hell is even going on here? This is not good. Like this
No.
is a social experiment, is the way I was seeing it. I knew what it was. I could see it happening and playing out before my eyes.
Do you know why AMSMR or whatever ASMR is so popular? Because people are in desperate need of human contact. And so
Yeah.
it's not sexual. That's what they want us to all think about it. They want everything to go to our root chakra. But we used to all sit together and commune and sit at picnic tables. Like, I grew up in a different day. Like, if we all lived on a street, we ate together at least twice a week. Like, your
Yeah.
mom could like tap my
Your
ass if
house
I
or my
got out of
house, or
line.
yeah.
Like, there was a next level of us knowing each other and me feeling you. Like, I got hugged by adults and I heard them eat. I heard him chew. I heard him breathe. They cared about me and put me to bed. And it wasn't just my mom and it wasn't just my dad. It was Abby's mom and dad and Layla's mom and dad. And we were all kind of doing this thing. And now kids, they don't even feel their own parents. They don't feel their own grandparents. They don't have their aunts and uncles. They were cut off from everything, plastic wrapped around them. And that's why they're sitting there listening at night so they can go to sleep, the sound of somebody breathing or their lips smacking together, because it feels like the comfort that we're being ripped away from or over sexualized for. And that
Mhm.
makes me so sad that we used to be close enough in this way that we could hold each other if we needed to. But now, even because of this, like this thing put an extra damper on things where you actually have to like see somebody's consent about going in for a hug that stopped just having to do it. Like they wanted to over sexualize it, but now it was how you felt about my germs.
Mm.
Dude, even holding babies. Like I used to freaking like offer to hold people's babies all
Yeah.
the time. Like especially even like parents at a school or whatever. Like you sit there and see them trying to fill out paperwork and trying to deal with their crying baby on them. It's like, let me hold that thing, you know? And now I feel like you can't even really ask that. Like, well, for a while you definitely couldn't.
Yeah,
But
you're
now
right. It used to be so normal.
Sepsis.
Strangers
yeah,
would
like
hold
let me help
babies
you out.
all the
Let me take her
time.
from you. Yeah, I would do it. I did that all the time, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this natural urge to like help a lady out who because I've been there. I've been the mom with
The
4
mom
little
trying to get in the
kids
car
and a
and just
baby, and I needed help. I could have used an extra hand all the time, but like, yeah, it just
They've
felt like
scared parents.
they
They
have.
scared them, and
Like
the
they
reason
scare them all the
why
time. Like, oh,
b-
you can't be a
babies
grandparent to this
are
baby. You don't go get this
yeah,
this.
And then look at
babies are
Abby,
dying
this
though
great
because of the
mom. It shows that she has this instinct, this superpower. She's being this great mom. She has all these kids of her own. And so her natural instinct, if she saw Layla struggle with her baby, young mom, or just a full hands mom, she is one of the ladies in the tribe that would always help with the babies. And
Yeah,
so that would be her superpower to feel like this lady needs help right now. And I don't even feel qualms about asking her. And that's how we'd get through. And so for them to take, like, they cut your superpower off. And then,
yeah.
but where those were the things that Layla would have been getting into her car with her baby and all this stuff, and the world would be against her, and she'd go through her postpartum depression, and she would have been like,
Just
that
crying
blonde
and yeah.
lady was so nice at the store. And you
Yep.
would have just been a blonde lady.
I
yeah,
know.
but they put
It
the
would have
fear in
mattered.
the mothers because of the real reason that they're doing things to their newborn child, which they shouldn't be doing with the vitamin K and all these other things and the stuff on a newborn child. And they put this fear into like, oh, sepsis or this or that. And they're blaming humans for
Whooping cough.
kissing the baby because of, oh, this is why my child died because you kissed it or you hugged it. Are you fucking kidding me? That was not a thing. That was never a thing.
Never a
There's
thing.
always something behind it, and it blows my mind that nobody even fucking questions the inoculations
Yeah,
behind
they
it
question a
ever.
stranger with the. It's so
It blows my
wild to
mind.
me.
Yeah. Like, oh
Or
no, that's just to protect my child. What are you talking about? I'm like, what are you
doesn't it
talking
blow your
about?
mind that this is what makes me sad? That it makes me so sad. And this is where I really want to validate to all my mommy and daddy crew out there that vaccinated their kids, and maybe their kid doesn't have any problems that are ever, they've never had a learning disability, they don't have a sexual identity crisis, they don't
They
have
probably had
asthma.
really good
Yeah,
insurance.
like let's say like for whatever
The
reason,
good cooler.
or just their body was a super generator and it gushed it all out. And let's say even you do have kids that you do have these ailments, like they have seizures or they have learning disorders or they're on the spectrum or they have something that's going to be a permanent thing their whole life. They're deaf, they're blind, they're, missing a limb. And these are all
Asthma.
the same thing. So, like, you can only judge yourself for what you knew at the time. It's not fair to be harsh on yourself for what you didn't know. It's not fair.
Did the
And
best
as
you
a
did
mom,
with
yeah, with the
what you had
information you
available.
had, and
Yeah.
as a parent, moms and dads, I know I have so many friends of mine, and we're all so young at the time too that we're most likely to have our babies. We're so
Hmm.
young, we're so scared, and we just want our baby to be the healthiest thing in the whole world. And so they have you by the nuts in that hospital. They have this young, very vulnerable
Vulnerable.
person that just wants to do the best. And that's what they're playing on. And so now you know. So now you know, and anything you don't do past this point would be very cowardly. You'd be going against that light inside yourself.
Yep.
But you didn't know then, and you have to go easy on yourself. It's whatever your kid is now is what we all needed for this highest possible timeline to win. So
Hmm.
it's like you can't judge that anymore. Like we needed
Yeah.
that for where we're going, whatever it may be. But where we're headed, you have to know now, and you have to be a person brave enough to even tell your loved ones, I don't want to tell my sister because she already is going to, nope, you have to be brave enough to say, God told me to tell you, stop putting poison in your child.
Yep.
And if
Literally
you're
stop.
in a place that you're going to go see someone, bring up, why are you having your baby in a hospital? Why are you, oh, well, I just feel better about, you're allowed to say these things. You're allowed to be protective of those people for the future them. You're allowed to protect them from feeling the guilt of all of us now where we fell short before. That's what we're doing here. We're protecting people from making the same mistakes that we know the truth to. And that's what we're doing. It's not about a money or a thing or a blah. And that's why they keep taking the channel down. That's why they keep shadow banning us. Because we go right against the rhetoric. And if we won't take a currency, how are we going to shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
If we won't take a currency, then they can't play. If these girls all keep working for a living and feeding their families by actual blood, sweat, and tears, then we can't make them shut the fuck up by convincing them this is their livelihood.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of you guys watch people out there, that this is their livelihood. So they need to go with that 51% all the time of their audience. And that's where you get Christian fake grifters. That's where you get the black pills, because it's easier for me to sell the apocalypse than for me to sell you learn who your mayor is.
That's true.
It's not as exciting. It's not fun for you to actually just look in the DA of your town and find out who voted him in, and then find out how many people he let out, and then look at all of them and see how many of them are pedophiles or Antifa. That's a fun thing you can do right in your town. Find out if there's a tunnel system underneath where you live. Do the research about it. Find out who
There
put
is
it
in
there.
my
Find
town.
out what, find out what
I
restaurants
wonder if
are
there's
above
one
it.
in my town. I mean, the
That
beach.
big old map, you know,
maybe?
like right
Girl,
in my corner
Tampa
of
has the
Oklahoma.
tunnels. Tampa
Really?
is the tunnels. Anywhere there's a freshwater port, because we think of the mountain goes all the way underground, all the way under the water.
That's true.
So, yeah,
I
I
have to
just think
check
there's
that out.
things that you could actually take part in besides just being mad at presidents and kings all the time. And also being mad at presidents just because the TV told you to.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Because there's literally no TV anywhere, no paper anywhere, no thing anywhere, except for some weird random lesbian Floridian telling you that MAGA.
It feels different now compared to,
Period.
like, let's say the Clinton times, doesn't it? Like, the whole political, like, everything just feels so different. Like, people were just at a time where it was just, I don't know how to explain it.
They were fucking, they had their pink pussy hats on too tight, and they were so mad
It's just
and
different.
visceral. They were like, I'm here, I'm queer, but I'm not, but I'm mad for queers.
You social justice warrior.
It was like,
different.
Okay, this is what I picture for real. Nobody cares that I'm doing my yoga and wearing my tight pants every day anymore. No one cares about my Lululemon. No one cares about my Real Housewives. No one cares about my Jennifer Aniston haircut. I sure do feel bad for black people. That's really what I think. I wish my kid was transgender so I would have more to talk about at the PTA, because Jenny being cheerleading, no one wants to hear it anymore. Like, I wish Jenny wanted to be a boy tomorrow. Like, I think somewhere bored
it's like taking somebody's
housewives
cancer and making it about
these
yourself by
shams.
getting your breasts and your breasts and your ovaries cut out because your sister has cancer and she's getting more attention.
Yeah. So I have the brachial gene. So
Yeah.
I
You know what
had
it
to get
is?
top surgery.
Proactively go get it all cut out.
I guess, like, from, I would say, you know, the 1950s compared to, like, now, the lack of privacy on anything, because everyone wants to share everything with everyone. So it's like a drama show on every
it's like
level.
continuing high school, right?
Yeah, so it's like telling your story to everyone or your girlfriends, or now it's like everybody. Before it was just your girlfriends. Now everyone's telling about everything now. So, like, why not have like a juicy story that, hey, my transgender child is gay and like now I'm like popular, and you know, they're just going by dramatics now instead of like actual
like,
substance of
oh my
facts
gosh,
and
Jenny
like,
learned how to play the piano.
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, Benjamin learned how to do carpentry and built a soapbox derby car. Like,
Yeah.
instead of your kid actually having a skill that you're proud of, I'm like, so I got a litter box for Jenny, and we're gonna call her feline and furry from now
Yeah.
on. And then you guys, as my friend, are like, Chaney, you're so progressive. I really love this about you, that you're just like leaning in and getting her litter boxes. And I'm like, thank you guys. And you, when we leave, you guys are like, you're so brave.
Uh,
Like,
I
this is real
forgot
life.
to tell you my story off the other night about that.
mm,
Oh, off air. We'll save it for
Yeah.
off air.
Yeah.
mm.
Kitty Roca.
I could get in trouble. So
Yeah,
No,
no.
I know real human children using litter boxes in their home, and parents are allowing this. This is it's like akin to me to
well,
drinking piss. It's like, what? We're just it makes my head do a like what?
What is going on in the United States, though? What is this?
I don't know. I feel like
furries.
everybody wants to be deeper than the next person. Everybody wants, it's like Abby's like, I spent
Kinder,
two
more
and a half
accepting
hours
too.
at the gym, so I want to spend 3 hours at the gym. And then it's like Layla's like, I meditated for an hour, and I'm like, I meditated for 2 hours. I read the whole Akashic record. I read the whole Akashic record written in Hebrew and in ancient Greece. It's like we're like in this competing thing
I'm more
all the
humble than
time.
you guys.
Yeah, I'm way more humble than you, Abby. But this is the
You're
other
not very
thing.
humble.
This is why I think people get into this thing of joining these cults and drinking their own piss and doing these things, or like, clockwork oranging themselves. I feel like people are doing these things because they want to be the deepest person. Somewhere they feel like there's something they're missing. Like, what's so wrong with you? What's so sick about you that you need to start drinking your pee instead of there being maybe like an herb or soap or like some other element that
Apple
before
cider
that?
vinegar.
Yeah,
Shit,
before
come on
that.
now.
Before that. Like, so it's like there's these certain things of like, oh, I'm going to do DMT drips every day. I'm going to float in a float tank for 4 hours, and then I'm going to come back so everybody thinks I have the meaning of life. And so I think there's this new
Ayahuasca.
one-upping each other of meaning of lifeness or something, that I have to be deeper with, like Christ consciousness over you. And that,
Yeah.
so I have to do something more absurd.
That's
So when
spiritual
I'm like,
narcissism.
hey, let me practice Kundalini on you, and you have to lay there like a woman that's like, this doesn't feel good to me. What are you doing? I have to be involved in this. It's not just about you
You're
nutting up
doing tantric
yourself.
sex? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
like, hey, bub,
Babylon.
this isn't sex. This
What
is you
are you
almost
doing?
doing a Mormon soaking on me. What's up? Like, it's like it's like somewhere in the world, I've just watched these certain movements over and
Costumes.
over again, where it's like, if you want to be a dude and you realize you're addicted to porn, and you have to tell people that I was addicted to porn. Thank you for telling me. Every time you tell me that you were addicted to porn, thank you for letting me know you're somehow thinking about sex. Hopefully not with me. And so every time you say this, I was addicted to porn. And then every time you have to tell me, guess what? I was addicted to porn. I had a real problem with jerking off. I had a real problem with jerking off. I jerked off 5 times a day. I jerked off. Guess what? I'm going to go online. I didn't jerk off today, you guys. I didn't jerk off. Guess what? That sound you hear of jerking off, fap, 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 fap. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I no fapped today. And so the idea to me that grown men need a pat on the back attaboy for not touching their own dick is wild to me. And people are like, Chaney, porn is a problem. People do have an addiction. I understand, but it's like, if you go 9 years
Chaney, it
sober,
feels good. What are you talking about?
I want to hear about your journey of 9 years sober. If you want 10 days without touching your dick and you have to tell me about every day in between, and then on the 11th day, oh, you guys, I was weak today.
Fell off the
Shut the
wagon.
fuck up. You're doing something weird. You're not practicing sobriety. You're just getting me involved in your sex life.
Mm.
Yeah, it's back to
But it
that,
feels
you
good,
know?
Chaney. It feels good.
I know. Oh, I'm so
There's nothing
addicted. I'm so addicted. Like,
nothing wrong with it.
okay,
It's
you're a
just
monkey
nobody's
at the
business.
zoo.
Yeah.
And you don't have any kind of human, it's like the same way that gluttony, like you see that 7 just shoving pies in your face, just shoving pies. Ugh, I don't feel good. Oh,
Lard
I'm gonna
ass,
throw up.
lard ass,
That's what I
lard
feel
ass.
like. At some point, we all don't need to cheer on you touching or not touching your dick, rubbing piss in your eyes, pretending that you're the Mashiach, acting like your craziness is touched. Like, I just feel like, why are we all playing along? We act like the only LARP's the transgender movement, but really there's so many others.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, but there's something deeper to this. This is some like weird like shit. Like society is weird when you really think about
It's
it. Like
extra.
right now, yeah. It's
If you
just
took your
weird.
grandmother, our grandmas, just take these, whatever your grandma, picture in your head, everybody out there. And then let's say whatever grandma's not alive for you anymore. Maybe it's your great grandmother, however young you are. And if you're lucky enough to have your grandparents still. So this old lady, let's say she never saw the phone, somebody in your life that never saw the phone, and she was to walk into right now and she saw everything going on, just the normal stuff that plays on TV, the normal stuff kids are watching, any run of the mill cartoon, a Lady Gaga video, and you showed it to her on your phone. Don't you think your grandma would just turn to stone or be like, witchcraft, witch,
Mhm.
like the things we came up with and what's happening right now? And yeah, it's all brainwashing and all this, but there's got to be some tools of discernment in you that says, this ain't right, y'all.
Yeah, something's just weird. It's just I can't put my finger on it.
Elephant in the room.
And I saw like somebody wrote too, like, what are you gonna do when they come microchip you though? Don't you understand? They tried to do that during your lockdowns. They tried to
Mhm.
take your change, and you guys, it may be not you that listened, but some patriots out there didn't listen. They kept using cash, even though they tried to force a credit card on us. They even, when they were forcing all of our reparation payments, our universal income payments, our whatever socialist bullshit thing you want to put on it payments, when they were forcing that, the government wanted to send us all a card so that way they could refill it. A little card from the government that they could refill all the time. But they called Trump an egomaniac because he wanted to send you a check and write his signature on it. But really,
Yep.
that check was money. This card was tracking. And so
Yeah.
that government card that you never got, that was going to be cryptocurrency that you all back, um, a f- another person you guys all worship, Elon Musk, who owns PayPal, was the first one to come out that if you said the wrong thing online, you were going to get charged $2,500. You know,
Yeah.
the same guy that you guys are all excited about your free speech that you pay for on X. So, yeah, that same guy was the same guy and head of the PayPal that was going to charge the $2,500 for the credit card that Hillary Clinton was going to give you during these lockdowns that have been planned. For anyone who's been out there awake in conspiracy for 20 years, will tell you all the agendas and operations and roundtables that they talked about doing just this. So
Mhm.
none of that stuff happened. You still have the guns in your hand because even the insurrection didn't go quite like they planned on TV because Aunt Chaney still sits here and the FBI have never knocked on her door. So I'm willing to garner that most of the stuff they're telling you is by actors and fake shit on TV.
Do you know the only thing that was tracked with the card during that whole time was the unemployment? Whoever was receiving the unemployment, the government weekly benefits. Every week, like clockwork, you had to whatever your schedule was, you put it in. I mean, I was gifted with a lot of money, like miraculously. I was like, "What
Well,
the
here was
fuck?"
the other
Okay.
thing that happened during those lockdowns, which was all
Uh
part of
huh.
the plan. You probably, like in your job with your skill set, you made more money than the lot of money that you got in your
No,
lifetime.
we were getting paid cash under the books.
No, I understand. But in your
Uh huh.
lifetime, whatever
Oh
money
yeah.
that you receive from the government, you've been capable of making more money than that in a month. Like
Yeah.
whatever amount of money you got in a month from them, Layla can turn and burn and make triple the amount of money that the government gifted her if they
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
let her work. Most
Yeah.
of the people that got gifted that money out there never saw that much money ever before, ever in their life. So what
Yeah.
they did with it was, because they didn't know how to manage money, they never had any money. Most of them lived at home with their family and didn't have anything to do about it. What they did was back everybody's Patreon and everybody's podcast and everybody to think they could make a living doing it. And that's why there's such the grift, because as all that money went away and people had to go back to work and a dollar mattered because you actually had to earn it, and all this thing happened again in the real world, people were like, "Oh, I don't have $400 a month to sit with Shlim Shlam Alazam and have him tell me about Tataria. I guess I'm gonna have to cut this bill. So Shlim Slam Alazam, who used to tell you about Tataria every day, had to go get a job, and so it's not so cool that he's making donuts in the morning at Dunkin' Donuts. It doesn't fit with the Viking motif of living in the castle of Tataria. So it's just like there's certain things out there that I'm like, that money allotted a lot of people to live in the LARP. It also
Yeah.
allotted every single person you saw Pink Pussy Hat in the street or BLM or March for Palestine or George Floyd or gays. They got paid to march because they were all so bored. The only place they were allowed to go was those marches because everything else in their big cities was shut down. So they
Yeah.
were all pinted up. They were being fed exactly what they needed to be fed by the TV. And then they were all going out with their faces covered to commit crimes against the people they were mad at.
Yeah, I moved. I moved because I refused to work with a mask, and everywhere that I applied for, they required a mask, and I was like, "Fuck that!" And I
Me
took
too.
whatever money I had from the government, and I Airbnb'd for a couple months till I found an apartment, found a job that was not gonna care if I wore a mask or not, and that was it. That was my story, and I was a refugee.
I love that though. I love that
Mhm.
you turned your fake money into something real. So many people
Yeah.
turn their fake money into, well, I have a little badge on like I have a fake outfit on some video game I play,
Mhm.
like
Skin.
you I
You
know
know what I
some
did
people
with the
that took
money?
that fake money and got gold, silver,
I
they took
traveled to
crypto and
Florida
doubled it. Yeah.
with my entire family, okay? And I wanted to see first, is it open like they're saying it's open? Let me just take my family on vacation. I fell in love with it. Everybody was maskless. Everybody wearing Trump hats. Everybody talking about Trump. I was like Trump obsessed at that time, like insanely. And so I went back and I was looking for a job and I couldn't find a job, no mask, you're not allowed to work here. Took the rest of my money, Airbnb'd, and that was it. It was the best decision I ever fucking made. And it was a good use of that money too. To actually like see it, family too, so they could see like, oh, okay, you're moving to a nice place actually. And then they followed along.
That's what I
Yay.
feel like. It's like sometimes everybody's like, you're so crazy. I know so many people that moved to Florida and like, they happen to be gay, but they moved from a place like Washington and people in Washington were like, you're going to move down to Florida. They're going to lynch you down there.
Mhm.
Like the people's view of Florida, I forgot that it
Those
was
fucking
so like,
rednecks.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And
And
I moved
people
to the
don't care.
ultimate redneck city, Panama City Beach. Ultimate. I loved it.
I don't know. And hoorah Marine. The Marines were here before the United States was here.
Really?
Yep. There can't be there couldn't be a constitution without the Marines.
Ah.
There has to be a protective body. So there has to be something to protect the rights that God gave you. And this is what's shown over and over again. There will always be a king or a president or a dictator or somebody that wants to come and take what you are born with from you. And so the Marines were actually like a group back when that were like kind of set up to be, and they were really just like gathered people from the states so they could be called upon. Like they were like militia before militia.
Yeah.
So it's Smedley Butler shit. So if you haven't read Smedley Butler, you should go and read Smedley Butler because they've tried to pull a
That
coup in our
smells like
country
that
before.
sounds like smelly butt. Smedley Butler. Just have to say it.
Smedley Butler.
Oh, I heard it.
Smedley
Smelly
Butler.
butthole.
Yeah, the reason why
Saying.
it's declining because that whole no, the club is not there. Club Lavella, where they used to do the Girls Gone Wild videos most of the time, which was known for like trafficking women and raping women in that vicinity. And I think during the whole lockdown, that's when they decided to shut it like completely. It used to be Spring Break Central. Now it's not as bad. So a huge decline in that, which we're all happy about.
Yeah,
So
that's what I will say. Florida, the one thing it has going for it is we dealt with spring break trash in the 80s and 90s. And so I feel like a lot of the cities are like, take that shit somewhere else. Go
yep,
play in Cabo, go play in California, at Coachella, get that shit out of Florida. We don't
yeah,
want to play with, let's see how wasted teenagers can get and fall off balconies.
yeah. Fuck
You,
that.
you guys can set up your trafficking port somewhere else, but we don't want that shit in Florida.
Oh, when I asked around, because I thought it was gonna open, I was like, when I was first there, it was like my hotel is right next door to Club La Vela. Um, and I was like, why isn't this place open? It should be open. Everyone's like, oh, they're not gonna open anymore. I'm like, why? They're like, thank God, the shit that happened there and the amount of girls that were raped on the beach because of that place and the drugs that went on. I was like, holy fuck. And then when I went down the rabbit hole and found out that Girls Gone Wild was assisted in that, and then that whole trial with them, wasn't there like a trial or something, an
Yeah.
investigation? Yeah.
You're going to
I was
love
like,
this too.
huh,
Get the dude who did Girls Gone Wild. Guess who his best friend is?
ooh,
Kim K.
no.
Yeah, like the Kardashians attached to him on the way, way back. That's keeping up with the
Wow.
Whoa.
Kardashians when Caitlyn was Bruce still.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. So isn't it interesting now? You have a guy that learned how to use exploitive tapes and sell them on the internet, and you have the queen of becoming famous from an exploited tape from the internet. And it
Huh.
wasn't all planned by Kris Jenner and the best friend.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Could
100%.
Ray J have maybe just been a paid boy for this whole
A
experience?
prostitute. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guarantee you this is another thing I'll shout out to Ray J while you guys are all still playing in Diddy World. Ray J gave the drugs to Whitney that had her killed. Ray J's just a drug dealer in Hollywood. Like Ray J he's nothing. He's no Brandy. Brandy's the
Yeah.
only talent to ever come out of that family.
Yep.
And she was a Hollywood star, young child, just like her brother passed around. And he probably brought the laced cocaine and gave it to Whitney knowingly on the night. And for all that to happen as a ritual sacrifice at the Grammy Awards, in my
Mm.
opinion. But if there's a problem with it, Ray J, please see my attorney. I
Get
can't
on
wait
the
to get
show and we'll
sued.
talk
I can't
about
wait
it.
to get sued by you.
We'll love to interview you. Come and
Yeah.
explain yourself.
For the love of
You
Ray
got
J.
some explaining to do. They're saying that's a what's
Cuban
Mandela effect.
spell.
I know, a Mandela effects. They're saying that he never
A
said that.
communist spell. Lucy, you have some splaining to do.
Yeah, apparently there's not an episode where he says that. I'm like, no, I remember fucking Ricardo saying that. Ricky
There were so many people that mocked Ricky
mocked
Ricardo
it, yeah.
afterward that there was even a song, because we keep talking about like no one's allowed to touch anything, but for some reason Weird Al Yankovic can touch whatever he wants. And he has a song, it's basically that song, "Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Mickey," but it's "Oh Ricky, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Ricky," and he sings it like Lucille Ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so
I haven't
silly.
seen that. Yeah.
But Lucille Ball, like how we're gonna bring up Howard Hughes so much Friday. I know, but Lucille Ball, that's an American rabbit hole. Conspiracy theorists don't go down as much, the same as Howard Hughes. Lucille Ball, y'all. All the way back then, women have no power, yada yada yada. You need to do some research on Lucille Ball. And then a white
Lucy
redheaded
Ball.
woman, she married a Cuban dude, and he was the part of making it that Cubans were the only white Hispanic. So in the box that was checked on our race box, everybody else has to check Hispanic, but Cubans are there's non-white Hispanic and white Hispanic. Like they needed a separation. They also got a rule that the second they were naturalized by stepping foot on the soil, different than every other country. Like they just had to make it here, step foot, citizen. And so there's this whole thing that it's right there. Russia tried to go in there, China tried to go in there, everyone, because they just put a missile thing there. We're goners. We have all this stuff, but we still bought Guantanamo Bay with gold. So we're in war. We can't get a cigar from there. Everything's illegal, but all of our prisoners go there because whatever atrocities happened there must be a spell because we won't allow it inside the lines of the American soil. Why can't you just do Guantanamo Bay here? Because none of the states will let you do it. It's state laws. That's what the thing is. DC is separate from us. So they wouldn't put Guantanamo Bay anywhere because none of the states would allow it. So there's some weird shit. There's some weird shit that I feel like will all come up, but it was weird because we talked about Lucille Ball. All right. I love you guys. Are you doing anything
I love you
this
too.
week?
Work. That's it, really.
Me
I'm gonna
too.
try and get this computer situation settled, hopefully in the next week or two.
Love it. Your sound sounded great tonight, and
It did.
picture.
Thank
Like
you
it was
very
on
much.
point. I didn't even notice it one fucking time.
Nice. Why?
Yeah,
It's
like
been
I
bad
didn't.
the past couple times.
It was
Yeah.
so bad last week.
Yeah.
I'm
It
so
was so
sorry.
bad. It was. I was so. I was so captivated by Gordy's little hat that it was okay. Like I laughed so much at the little hat on Gordy and how.
Y'all should have told me. I didn't realize.
Well, it wasn't great for a couple weeks, but I know you're going through some shit.
Oh, really? It
I
hasn't
feel
been?
like no. I felt like you had other stuff going on. So
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
like, when Layla,
I love you guys.
she'll get it all fixed when she needs.
I
to.
will. There's just
Yeah,
a
I know.
lot of shit that's happening, you know?
And
just-
if you guys paid attention, Gordy got light. That's why I think he got a light that had a little more settings than he was anticipating the light having. He was like, oh my gosh, it has
Oh,
this
God.
color and this color. Oh my gosh. And sometimes he got lost in it while we were doing the show.
Did you
Mhm.
see on his Instagram today him holding a hummingbird?
Yeah, that was so cute. Little hummingbird.
It's like, what the actual hell? This man, Gordy,
Mhm.
you're magic.
He's
That's
an
part.
animal
That's part of his
whisperer.
magic. He is.
But animal whisperer. That's okay. We'll talk Friday,
hummingbird.
you guys. We love you so much.
Love you
and Thank you for
guys.
watching and dealing with my rants, even if I love Daddy Trump. All right.
Let's
MAGA.
go,
We'll see
Trump.
you soon. Yeah, that'll be close enough. Wait till you see how MAGA this shit gets. Just kidding. But we will have MAGA days.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a Democrat, sorry, we're never gonna
Sorry.
have we're never having that day. We're
Yeah,
playing
never.
that.
Never. And I was one. Never again.
I could admit who I voted for in the past.
Yeah.
And you kill your idols the hardest.
Yeah.
I
You wake up one day.
I voted for Hillary Clinton in a primary once.
Oh, God.
You guys can record that, and that's why. All right, I love you guys.
All right, bye.
We'll talk soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
What we used to think we knew is constantly explore the view. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys. Good guys. Good guys. Which is where those bigger mistakes. Entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Which is where those mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Oh, Mommy, I got my pasty. Please, and run to me and let me see. Oh, she's a bunny, y'all. She's a bunny this morning. Come here, bunny girl. Come here, bunny girl. Oh, I'm so fast, Mommy. I'm so fast this morning. Oh, bunnies. Hi. Okay, of course she's starving for the most attention because she's the youngest. Give me attention, please. Now, Sarah, you're very stuck up. and you're too cool for school. I get it. Jesus Christ, be nice. Girls, be nice. No fighting.